Alrighty, hello. If you can see, hear, or perceive us in any way, shape, or form, please do let us know, as that would be quite handy.
It would, wouldn't it?
Otherwise, it's just
What's
us
the
here.
point of doing the stream if they can't hear us? Also, I might have some headphone issues halfway through this because apparently my cat ears are beginning to die. So if I suddenly disappear halfway through the stream as I try to figure out some sound issues, you'll know why.
No, well, hopefully that won't happen, and if it does, we'll just play it by ear.
Yeah, I'm sure it'll be fine. I'm sure it'll be good.
We're good at pivoting around these parts. Okie dokie. Hello. Okay, I see YouTube hellos. I don't see any Twitch hellos yet.
Anyone over on Twitch you can actually see and hear us, do please drop us a message and say that we can't be heard clearly, because we don't want to go ahead if we can't be heard properly.
Hello. Yes. Good. Excellent. All right. So welcome. It's good to see you all. Apologies that the last week was a little weird between some sickness and just other stuff. You know, we had a bit of an off week, but we're back and things are going and happening, which is great, awesome, cool. And at least most of y'all had the new Total War to like dig your teeth into. But we're back with another What If episode, and this one for the first time is going to be heavily focusing on the Skaven, which should be a good time. Also, I got cleaned up today, so I no longer look like a random hobo that just wandered onto the show.
I mean, you say that.
That was an expensive haircut. I look great. But in any event, obviously we'll have our little bit of just rambles here for the first few minutes to let people get in and be able to get situated for the show as we get set for that. But yeah, hopefully everyone is doing a-okay this week.
Yeah, I'm kind of not. And you might be wondering, oh, Andy, why? It's the same bloody reason as always. It's because tomorrow, no, not tomorrow, we're only on Wednesday.
Not yet.
I've got 2 hours before it's tomorrow. Tomorrow I'm off for an extraction, which I can't say I'm looking forward to at all. Part one of a long process that lies ahead of me. So this Friday, there'll be no LAWhammer because I'm going to be in a dentist crying. And it also means that there's a very strong possibility I won't be attending Tabletop Scotland the day right afterwards, which, for those of you that don't know, Tabletop Scotland is the biggest board games gaming convention in general up here in Scotland. And I was really looking forward to it. But of course, my dentist had to be the idiot that imposed upon that. I went, no, Andy, we're going to make your life hell first. I might be going on the Saturday. We'll find out after I've been to the dentist and just how much pain I've been left in. Fair.
Yeah.
Looking forward to that.
I hope it goes as good as it can go.
Yeah, so do I. Strangely enough.
The dentist does an expert job that is the least horrible as possible.
Yeah, I'm not looking forward to this one at all. For those of you who don't know out there, obviously the dental woe has been going for a while, but not only that, I have actual dental phobia. I am afraid of dentists for a whole host of childhood-based reasons that we don't want to go into. So not only do I have the horror of all the work that's coming up anyway, but it's combined with the actual somewhat rational, but nevertheless irrational fear of dentists. Yay.
Is the Black Plague Wars known as the Skaven Wars? Yes, we're talking about the same war. The one that takes place in the 1100s of the Imperial calendar. So, yes, we are talking about the same war. The Skaven Wars would be the more accurate term. My brain always thinks of it as the Black Plague Wars because it's from the Black Plague trilogy, which is why my brain categorizes it like that. But we'll go ahead and get into opening super chats and such here right at the start.
Yeah.
Inglis Conale. Thank you so much for becoming a member. Really appreciate it.
Lovely.
Welcome. Omnicide, how much is the bribe to create a character called Mandred the Slayer Skaven as someone with a role in that victory?
Well, interestingly, the Skaven actually referred to him as Mandred, so Probably not worth doing because it's already a name used, and it's used by
He's already
the
there.
Skaven.
It's already taken.
Yeah, it's already taken for the awfulness that was Mandred Skaven Slayer, Man Dread. They refer to him as that because you know what the Skaven are like. They're always combining words, and when they can combine two words that sound like the very thing they're terrified of, they went for it. So I'm sorry to say, this name has already happened on this side.
You're too slow on this side. You're too slow.
Yeah.
Donovan, given the weird time nature of the ether, do you think it's possible that ancestor god Hashut was contacted by chaos god Hashut, who revealed that the only way to save a big chunk of his people in the future would be to turn to chaos? So the ancestor god then turned to chaos and then ascended into a god.
You tend to find that that's not normally how the time works in the ether or how the writers use it. What would be more likely would be something like this, if you wanted to run with that sort of storyline. And it would be that the ancestor god Hashut would look forward into the future, or see that there was this great burgeoning birth coming ahead of a chaos god that was of a particular stripe and was very successful and powerful and could save his people. And he decided to become that god. So rather than have that god contact go back, you tend to find it's always the present going forward, because that's how the writing tends to work. It's very, very rare, and I do mean so rare that it's effectively not something that happens very often, that an entity from the future influences the past. It's normally the present influencing and being influenced by what they see coming in the future.
Yes. Yes,
it makes sense to me.
Yeah, no, it does make sense. I do think that tends to work a lot better for like the general audience. It tends to be, in my experience, it tends to be a lot harder to swallow and enjoy plots that are more about the future reaching backwards as opposed to the present interpreting and trying to mess with / prevent / succeed with the future, which is a lot easier to grasp and tends to make for a better story.
Yeah, I mean, not everybody can pull off a Terminator's tale.
Yeah, it's really hard to write.
It is, yeah. And in a way that doesn't lose the audience. So you tend to find that it's generally always the present is what matters, and looking forward and trying to influence what they perceive might be coming is how they are motivated.
Necromancer Cobalt, going to be excited to see how long we decide the Skaven remain united and unbackstabbed as soon as they are victorious over Mandred.
Let's see, eh?
I do feel that this is one of the unique what ifs that I think y'all will have a significant amount of ability to decide precisely whether it's a short stream, a medium stream, or a long stream, because there is kind of a ticking time bomb just sitting in the narrative.
I mean, we could very well be done in like half an hour here. You know, that's what happens. That's what happens. Not all of our what if streams have to be super, super long. We're going to build a what if and then let it go and see where it goes. And if you decide, yeah, no, it's all going to fall into an outcome that's largely what it was before with a slightly different flavor and sprinkling of, I don't know, different herbs and spices on top, then so be it. But if alternatively you go for something deep, different, and time consuming, then again, so be it. What makes for the coolest story, I think, always should win.
Omnicide, Skaven aren't real. They're just Tony Hawk enthusiasts, and y'all misheard. They're skate fans. Skate fans.
Omnicide, I almost missed that one. I just want to bring up a comment here from Stumpy as well. It's a good one there. Does the logic, that logic is in present to the future, extend to 40k? Because I think I remember something about Slanesh demons being spotted eons before their birth. Yes, and this is actually an example of what we're discussing. They knew something big was coming. They all knew something big was coming, and the demons that were going to be effectively birthed in the future were beginning to manifest in the present, so to speak. And there was a fight to try and hold off the birth of this god. There was also a fight to try and effectively become that god. So the answer to this is absolutely yes, and it's a supporting component of what I was attempting to briefly describe earlier, Stumpy.
Buffett, we need a what if for the fishermen rising up. Do we? Do we though?
Do we?
Yeah. I mean, we could, cheers. I suppose, at some point do something along those lines, perhaps. Maybe as like a make-a-wish thing. Scallywag, with the Empire fallen, who could stand up to the might of the Ratmen? None other than their most ancient and dangerous enemy, the Great Enchanter. Well, okay, hold up. You said the Great Enchanter. But then you brought up Nagash, who is not Nagash, the great enchanter.
Two different characters. They do get conflated sometimes, though, because in many respects, Nagash was a replacement to the great enchanter, Drachenfels, although Drachenfels was brought back into the setting again later. So, yes, your point, Age of Nagash. I don't think that is necessarily something that might not happen. We'll see how this all unfolds, because we know that Nagash and the Skaven don't exactly get on.
Yes, and there are, depending on how y'all decide to do this, there could be some pretty considerable undead shenanigans. Because there are a couple of notable undead events that are about to get thrown down in the gauntlet here. Watchdog, how many know this as a Skaven plot in the world? I assume you mean how many people know about the Skaven Wars? So, the Skaven Wars is one of those plot lines where there is some pretty significant hand waviness about the whole concept of like the Skaven are not a well-known force in the world, despite the fact that they've done a couple of near apocalyptic attacks that really should have had them very meticulously recorded in every single historical archive across like the old world. Where when you're dealing, which to be fair, you could argue that it's more of like the Empire just forgets, and the story does address how the Empire specifically forgets about them, because humans are just bad at memory, which, to be fair, tracks pretty well with real life. But yes. You would and most other factions are like fairly aware of them when it comes to elves and all those things. Now, whether they would record this is like, oh yeah, there was that time the Empire was nearly overwhelmed by the Skaven. Dwarfs probably have a good memory of it. The Wood Elves probably have a good memory of it, particularly the Larlorn Elves, because they were very heavily involved in the Skaven Wars. But when you're dealing with, like, the High Elves are probably barely aware of it, if at all. They weren't really paying that much attention to the old world at this point, especially because the Skaven Wars didn't leak into Bretonnia until way later. So probably not that many factions are aware of it, because they probably just didn't care, really. The Empire was not that important to them.
Yeah, it's a local problem, and most of the people involved died. So the answer to this is disease occurred and mutants rose up. Nobody really knows about it, and trust me, the Skaven don't want to remember it either, because it wasn't their best outcome. So the answer to this one is, how many know this is a Skaven plot? Probably next to none, if not almost none.
Yeah, honestly, probably the only faction that accurately remembers it is the Larlorn Elves. Everyone else has forgotten. Like, even because the dwarfs would have made notes about it, and then they got a billion other problems to deal with.
Yeah.
So yeah, there you go. Aquacane ordered the starter set and core rulebook for Wolfrip. Woohoo!
Nice one.
I use Wesley / Dread Pirate Roberts as an example of Elvish been there, done that, and you did so good for a human vibes. What other characters would you say are good templates for describing elves?
So one of the great character traits that you're looking for with elves is not just their arrogance, but also their age. This is something that's often forgotten about, particularly because the characterization for them in some of the various novels tends to lean into somewhat stupid or childish or daft or overwrought. The concept of age and agelessness needs to be remembered as they move through their long cycles of life, and humanity rises and falls and rises and falls and rises and falls like hiccups in the world, constantly changing, constantly belching their way forth from one empire to the next, and portraying that age is worthwhile. So to go with a completely different vibe, and perhaps as an unexpected source, take a look at some very old vampires and vampire movies, and take a look at some of their character traits for characters who've lived for such a long time that the ennui of life, and yes, I know I said ennui, I've said it right. The ennui of life has settled in and changed them from being the characters that they were
not
before.
Ennui?
Not ennui, no, the ennui. So that's a different style of character, one that perhaps you might not normally look to for inspiration, because most of the time people tend to look for, strangely enough, vampires to be sources for vampires. But there are few really long-lived characters who have gone through the stages of long life in movies, and even the immortal characters just tend to be just the same as everybody else. But for some reason, whenever someone writes a vampire, they immediately go, oh, but the ages they have lived through, and they change their character to try and reflect that. So you find vampire movies often spend more time considering the effect of age than many other long-lived character type movies.
A good character, I actually think, is Dracula from what the hell is that?
Which one?
The Netflix
so
cartoon. Netflix cartoon. Anime.
Anime. Oh, right, yes. Now Castlevania.
Yeah, I was like, what the fuck is the name of the show?
You threw me there.
Dracula from, granted, it's more in the story, it's a bit more because he's depressed, but he very much, like, he has explosive moments, but it takes so much out of him. And he's right back to, oh, I don't want to do anything. Like, just existence. And existence sucks. And it's just tiring and exhausting, and he's done everything, and he's given up on things changing because it's all a cycle and all the same shit keeps happening. I think he's actually a pretty, especially with even the explosive moments of emotions, he makes for a really, really good elf template.
Okay, so I'm now going to say a completely different thing, which is on the opposite end of the spectrum, but actually crosses over. Now, bear with me for a second. Okay, so how many of us have watched various teen movies that are about teenagers doing things for the first time and getting really very caught up in the moment? Teenagers doing teenage things is a great thing for Warhammer elves, because Warhammer elves are almost always caught up in that first time moment. They don't get used to things in the same way that other species do. It's one of the reasons that they don't generally fall to ennui in the same way that other species might do so if they're really long-lived. Now, the reason I bring up this is because lots of vampire movies bring both of those together, in that it tends to be a teenager meeting a very old vampire movie, and let's not think about that age difference too much. It gives you actually another one. My wife is absolutely convinced that the reason that oh god, I've forgotten the name of the movies now, the really bad ones, the vampires in the werewolves. Twilight, thank you. The reasons that Twilight was the way that it was, and the reason that the author, Stephanie, whatever her name is, chose vampires and the fact that they sparkle was to try and capture that teenage all-encompassing obsession that you get with your first love. And she literally created this glittering icon of perfection. And in many respects, that's how elves deal with everything. Everything is just too much. So pulling in both the teenage side and the vampire side and then scrunching them together a little bit like happens in Twilight, and away you go.
Yep. Watchdog, you mean, do people remember the Black Plague? Yes. A lot of people remember the Black Plague.
That is very cleanly and well recorded.
Yeah, it's like ours, basically. And even for groups outside, it was like a pretty novel event because a lot of people died, and everyone was like, "Oh, keep those guys away from us." Yeah. Where was I? Here. Prediction: Black Plague Wars results in Pestilens becoming the predominant Skaven clan, and the Under Empire overall becomes generally more plaguing in general, with the Grey Seers losing influence. However, we shall see. We shall see.
So, I'm going to, as we dive into the intro, you're going to find that this is already the case. Because when we start off with the Skaven Wars, Clan Pestilens is in dominance already. And it's this event that changes everything, because they lose, they do their big plan, and it gets fucked. The Skaven do what should have been an entirely successful campaign, and it isn't. But the what if today is, instead, what if it was successful? Exactly how it's successful and what it means we'll decide through the course of the stream. But what you've discussed here is exactly what the state of affairs is before we set off the Skaven Wars, not after. Afterwards, if anything, it's going to be more of a consolidation of this particular position.
Brock, what is the difference between Skaven backstabbing and Hobgoblin backstabbing?
Hobgoblins are better prepared for it.
Yeah, I would say Hobgoblins, interestingly enough, they're not cowardly backstabbers. They're just backstabbers. There's much more of like a bravado to it and much more of like an expectation of it. Skaven, it tends to be a lot more like constant paranoia and anxiety and political scheming. Whereas for Hobgoblins, it's almost more like fun.
Yeah, it's a part of the parcel that you get with Hobgoblins. Hobgoblins are, by their very nature, treacherous. Skaven aren't. Skaven are scared. And I think that's a better way of putting it. Often, many Skaven aren't backstabbing at all. In fact, if you read most of the fiction, Skaven don't do that much treachery in the greater scheme of things. In fact, not that much more than humans. It's just that when they do it, they tend to go big scale. It's just that they're a little bit more cowardly in almost everything that they do. And that cowardly nature that they have means that at some point their fear outranks their fear of the command, so to speak. And they try to move and take control. Many of them also have a great deal of megalomania, where they believe that they could do it better than anybody else, and they strongly in their heart believe this, and it's the balancing of this megalomania with their paranoia. And then, you know, when do I make my move? But because fear is one of their core components, very rarely is actually the truth. It tends to be nothing more than when it's all gone wrong and suddenly they go ha ha, and they then try to make their big move, which often is running away.
David, thank you very much. Very generous. Thank you. Surprise, Toothosaur. Brandy, off topic. What are your feelings about the... Oh, God, I hated this news. What are your feelings about the upcoming Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines 2? Paradox being Paradox has decided to paywall 2 of the clans.
So I have deep, strong opinions about that. First, thanks very much for the tooth money. Appreciate it. Secondly, and most importantly, because that's what the question is, Baldur's Gate showed us something that I think a lot of games and particularly publishers had forgotten. And that is a fully furnished game with everything included, single player, not only can sell, will sell. What do you have to do? Make it good. That's it. You just need to make a good game. The reason so many of these games that had come out at other times hadn't done as well as their various owners had hoped is because the game was not that big, not that clever, and not that well executed. And that includes some games that I kind of deeply love. I often love them despite what they are, rather than because of what they are. I'm going to particularly throw that arrow over towards EA and what they've done with BioWare, and how BioWare's various games do exactly what happened here with Bloodlines, in that it tend to release with a bunch of material behind a paywall, often because they wanted to squeeze as much money out of it as possible, with this almost back seat fear that the game wouldn't make enough for the amount of money that they had thrown into the development of it, the fear that the game wouldn't sell. But Baldur's Gate shows that that's a nonsense. In many respects, Cyberpunk did the same. Even if the game comes out not matching what you want, if you sit down and you nail that game into place, you provide it with all the content it requires, it will sell. Doesn't matter if it's single player, doesn't matter if it doesn't have its live content constantly churning away, doesn't matter if it doesn't have an online element, the game will sell. It will Stardew Valley its way to enormous success if the game is fucking good. And this is a classic piece on Bloodline's side of fear of the game's going to fail and trying to squeeze every penny out of the various users. It's bullshit. I should buy this game at launch. I probably will because I'm an idiot. But it's enough to make me go, I'm not going to. Fuck it. You know, I'll buy it when it's cheap, because that is almost the same as the price I would have paid for the extra DLC, extra add-on when I buy it at the cheap price. It feels like the full price of the game. It is a bullshit position, and Baldur's Gate has shown that it is a bollocks financial decision as well. I hate it.
Yep. Worth mentioning that Chinese Room / Paradox have already revisited that and aren't going to paywall those clans. That's good. It's a shame that it took backlash to slap some sense into them, but that's good. Yeah, okay, I mean,
apparently, according to David, it's still behind the paywall on Steam. I think it's bullshit.
We'll see what happens.
We'll see what happens. And,
I mean, Silksong comes out tomorrow for $20, and Silksong's going to make Silksong.
Yeah,
and it's going to make gangbusters.
Yeah, that's going to
absolute gangbusters money, just because it's a good game.
Good games win.
What a novel idea. You make something good and people will buy it. Yeah. Video game companies.
Many games are made by committee nowadays. People don't have a strong artistic desire to create something that is awesome and cool. They're creating it because they want to make money, and because they're creating a game to make money rather than create a game because they desperately want to make this cool game, you tend to find that it ends up at the end having been made by consensus a bit bland, dull, with maybe a couple of peaks that you go, well, that's a nice set piece because someone put a lot of heart and soul into that one little bit, but another person, another part just didn't do it the same way.
glares over at GW increasing their prices again by another 4% or more. Fucking greedy bastards.
That and I was fucking hell. Yeah.
Luigi Super, Empire's always stomped here. Give me Karl glazing. One day we'll I mean, okay, to be fair, in the core setting, the Empire gets glazed pretty often. Let's be fair, because if they were to ever realistically lose, which they probably should have in certain circumstances, the setting would just kind of like end. So you know, they are given a fair amount of love, generous handling, we'll say. Donoman, speaking of that, given that when Elf even compared to Warhammer Human, and we'll start at 30 minutes, by the way, no matter what. Given that even when compared to Warhammer Humans, elves have much less sexual dimorphism, it's odd that nearly all the elf playable characters seem to fit into the masculine/female archetype, especially on the female side. What I'm saying is we should have a queen/higher ranked princess from Christ. Give me badass elf, female elf with a big axe and a lion chariot. Is that just the female high elf from the Punch? Yeah, but that's awesome. So I mean, you're right. Yeah. I mean, I don't really have anything to add. You're right.
I'm going to say that I am consistently annoyed with where the Lorelorn ended up, purely because I had a different plan.
Yeah, I have an artist that I love. That Donovan, if you remind me, I'm not going to do it right now, but there's an artist I absolutely adore who does elf designs, and his elf designs are like, mwah. He has a white line of Christ lady, and she's just like, oh, she's so ripped. She's so big. She's a big lady. And she's like covered in scars and stuff from all the like dealing with lions and everything. And it's a beautiful design. Remind me of that when I do like a solo stream, or actually just message me on Discord. Just send me an alert, like in a Lorebeards chat, and I'll drop it in one of the Lorebeards chats. Aquicon, vampires, teenagers, lost boys, all good.
Well, actually, no.
Lost Boys.
Lost Boys for a part of it, perhaps, but not the age. Lost Boys is a movie. I have no interest at all in giving the idea of the long-term effect on the psyche that living far beyond everyone around you would have. I'd go to other movies for that aspect, but for the teenage aspect, there's a hell of a lot of it in there.
Man, so basically, hobgoblins are playing a trader game like Werewolf or the Resistance board games. Skaven are the actual characters in said games.
Yeah, actually,
that's actually very funny.
Dynamite.
Yeah, that's actually a very funny description. All right,
shall we go into a quick intro then?
Yes.
Right, so, much like this stream and its potential conclusions, my intro's actually going to be, at least in my terms of my preferred intros, relatively short. What we need to do here is merely establish what the starting conditions are so that you all understand what we're discussing today. This is one of our what if streams. This is one of our, we're going to describe a part of the Warhammer world. We're going to tell you what once happened, and we're going to say, but in this version of the Warhammer world, something else is the outcome, and what would come next if this was the outcome. In particular, we are discussing the Skaven Wars. Now, you might go, what are the Skaven Wars? Surely, don't you mean Rat-Face Beastman Wars? And yes, I do. Because these wars are largely forgotten. These wars are not known in the great record books of the Empire, or indeed any of the other various factions of the old world. These wars are effectively invisible. Why? Well, let us set the scene. We're going all the way back to the 1100s. This is over 1,000 years after Sigmar has abdicated and gone off to become a god. And we're in a time of strife in the Empire, where there is a lot of political upheaval because of the Emperor who's currently sitting on the throne. He becomes known to later generations as Boris Goldgatherer. And as you can probably guess, he's as corrupt as they come. And this civil war within the Empire makes it ripe for potential acquisition by the Skaven. Now, the Skaven are not known for actually actively assaulting anywhere with such an enormous amount of troops as are about to invade the Empire. This is almost a unique one-off situation. So why did it occur? Why did the Skaven assault the Empire? And why did it all go wrong? I'm not going to go into all the details, We're just going to lay out the basics. At this point in Skaven politics, Clan Pestilens is in ascendancy. There's been a massive civil war amongst the Skaven, and it's effectively ended with Clan Pestilens ruling the Council of 13. They are now in a very, very strong position, and they are making their first decisions as effectively Clan Pestilens-led Skaven. Do not think of the Skaven and all of the clans here as this great culmination of different clans, different squeaking voices, all pushing different directions. No, this is Clan Pestilens, and all the other clans are their subjects at this point, for want of a better description. They have risen up, and Clan Pestilens' views are in ascendancy. And because of this ascendancy, they decide to make the ascendancy occur, which is when the Skaven rise up and take control of the surface. This is something that has long been prophesied by the Great Horned Rat for his children. The children of the Horned Rat will one day rise and inherit the world above. And the Skaven decide that now is the time, because Clan Pestilens, who are religious lunatics, have decided these prophecies are coming to term now. So what happens? Without going into all of the potential detail, all we need to loosely cover for this is that come 11/11, I think is when it starts off, in the winter of 11/11, Clan Pestilens starts seeding its Great Plague, a plague that will bring down the old world, and it starts in the Empire. And this plague is followed up with actual Skaven on the surface kicking ass and chewing gum for a war that, if we go with the standard timeline lasts for over a decade. And in that time, 9 out of 10 people in the Empire are killed. It's awful. And it's not just because of the Black Plague, which ravages the population. If you go into the Drakwold, it's worse than 9 out of 10 that die in that area. It's almost 19 out of 20. If we go to the wider areas down the south in, say, Averland, it's like 1 in 4 that die down there. But over the Empire as a whole, about 9 in 10 are going to die in this war. And they still win. And they largely win because of Mandred Skavenslayer. Man Dread, as he becomes known by the Skaven, who effectively go to war with the Skaven after Boris effectively dies and holds up in Altdorf for ages, and drives them back, ending the enormous attack. And bluntly, the very plagues that were meant to be destroying the humans also start destroying the Skaven. It all goes kind of wrong for them. So instead of that, for this, we are going to pitch a different world, a world where Clan Pestilens' great assault into the Empire succeeds. That means that not only do 9 in 10 of the people in the Empire die, they then lose, and the remaining populace is enslaved. And one big difference happens, and it's the big thing, the big what if. The what if is that the Skaven go public, effectively, across the Empire, and the Empire becomes their land as they then expand outwards into the old world, because they have reached the point of prophecy. Their great ascendancy has occurred. We shall inherit, as it often says on many of the banners from the various 3rd edition up to 8th edition banners that you see them carry around. They have now inherited. They have grounded themselves into the Empire. But how have they done that? What has occurred that's different? How has their Black Plague succeeded in a way that the previous one didn't? What has Clan Pestilens done differently this time that means that they succeed? And what does success mean? Because in the real version of it, Clan Pestilens loses. It loses its ascendancy, and it loses its control over the Council of 13 because of the enormous failures that occur during the Black Plague. Enormous numbers of Skaven die. And a lot of them die to the very plagues that the Skaven were supposed to be unleashing upon others. And it's such a massive blow that the Skaven go down again and disappear for a long time and never really try this ever again. This is an enormous event for the Skaven. Let's be as clear about this as we can be. And we're going to say it succeeds, which is a religious, joyous moment for them. But what did it mean? And what's it going to mean next? Hey, that was a nice short one. That was only around about, 5 minutes? For me,
yeah, that was very good.
Let's be honest, that was super short.
Yeah. So for this one, we're gonna start off pretty strong with like a poll right at the opening.
Oh yeah.
Which is that we could do this as 2 or 3 options, which we'll kind of discuss. Is that we're going to decide when we're going to take authorial edits over what actually happens in the story. Do we do it near the start of the Skaven Wars, which means that the Skaven are going to be victorious not only in their early battles against the empires, but they're also going to crush and defeat Van Hal the Necromancer over in Sylvania, because that happens pretty early. Or we could take over near the end of the story, where the Skaven did not do very well or have a good time against the undead. So Sylvania is still a thorn and a threat, but the Empire is ultimately defeated, and Mandred Skaven Slayer is slain at the Battle of the Howling Hills up in Hockland, and the Skaven are able to consolidate, but they're still on kind of shaky ground.
Howling Hills are Midland.
Oh, is it the Howling?
Yeah,
it's listed as the Howling Hills. I don't know why they say Hockland. It says Hockland.
It's not Hockland. Howling Hills and the Howling Heights, indeed, are in Middenland. A classic piece of Black Library author not knowing where parts of the Empire are. This happens a lot in Black Library books. It's one of the reasons when ever a licensor is approached by Games Workshop and told, hey, you want to do Warhammer stuff? Great. Don't look at the Black Library books. It's just full of errors. They kind of are.
Yeah. Yeah,
I mean, cool stories, but so many errors.
So I'm happy to either have it kind of starting at the beginning. So we start off with the Skaven as strong as they could possibly be, like they've unleashed the plague and things are going well. It hasn't backfired against them as of yet, and they're doing really good, and their initial invasion just goes the best it possibly can. Or we go with they start winning at the end of the war, but there are more problems at the setup. So we've got undead problems, and the Skaven are dealing with the ramifications of the Black Plague starting to spread among Skavendom as well.
How about we go with a relatively simple question, which is, why does it succeed? Because ultimately, that's what we're looking for the first part. What is different that succeeds? Which could be the Skaven armies are more successful. The plagues don't affect the Skaven, which is one of the reasons that it all goes wrong. The council, Clan Pestilens, destroys their opponents. That's a pretty big one, because one of the reasons the Skaven end up collapsing amongst themselves is because the Skaven are constantly backbiting all the way through in an attempt to stop the ultimate ascendancy of Clan Pestilens. But if Clan Pestilens had been a bit more savvy, they would have expected this, and they would have taken out the leaders on the other side. And they are, after all, led by seers. It's no great surprise if Nurglitch notices that sort of thing building. There's lots of different routes that we do that. So maybe an angle which is a bit more, why do they succeed?
I like that. Okay, so
what's our 4 going to be?
So let's have option 1 be that Clan Pestilens take over. So Clan Pestilens, because for those that don't know, Clan Pestilens did have a scheme where they were trying to create a version of the Black Plague that would infect Skaven, but not them, so they could wipe out the competition.
Yep.
They actually use it to successfully destroy, I think it's Clan Verms.
So
early
perhaps,
on.
The first one is Clan Pestilens takes control, and that means that in terms of the next story we're going to be telling, that most of the other clan leaders and many of the other clans have been wiped out by disease, meaning that we have a very different Skavendom than we might have if we choose one of the other options.
Would Nurgle be jealous of Clan Pestilens' success? I don't know. Maybe he'll show up if you pick an option that is very
The answer to that would be no.
He doesn't really care.
No, he doesn't really care. Disease is disease. It doesn't care where it comes from. No.
Okay, so our second option, I think, would be that the Skaven don't fracture, would be the best way to put it. Or maybe, perhaps
lay it down as military success.
Sure.
So it's not the Skaven win because they wipe out their own opponents to stop them. They win because militarily, the Skaven are very successful on the field. They wipe out the potential uprisings in Sylvania. When they go against the Middenheim lot, they successfully take out Middenheim itself, and what would have become Mandred Skaven Slayer is killed. So effectively, militarily, the Skaven are much more successful. So they succeed because the Skaven and all Skaven are working together towards a potential outcome. Now, that might sound to some of you out there that it doesn't seem very likely. I would contest that heavily. Skaven tend to be much more together than many people realize, even when they're not. I don't think this is an unlikely outcome. I will say it'll give us a very different, political situation for the Skaven afterwards, because we will still be dealing with all of the great clans working with Clan Pestilens rather than Clan Pestilens just taking control.
Yeah, though it will have Clan Pestilens still in a shaky position because their plague would have started infecting a lot of Skaven and killing a lot of Skaven. So, and several of their clan members have been killed at this point. So I think for the third option, we have the Black Plague doesn't infect the Skaven. So the whole plot where one of the Grey Seers manages to, like an idiot, let a human bioengineer it to start infecting humans, or start infecting Skaven, that plot fails. The Grey Seer plot fails.
Yeah, and I think this is a really fun one. Effectively, it means that the campaign doesn't peter out for the Skaven. It's not that they were militarily successful at the beginning, and thus they take over and win. What happens is that the long-term war that the Skaven intended to move into, and Clan Pestilens entirely intended to win by attrition, if nothing else, doesn't fail the way it did before, because disease doesn't wipe out both sides, meaning that attrition causes both sides to fail. Cut a long story short, we are saying here that the Skaven long-term win the war through effectively besieging the Empire and waiting for them all to die. The Clan Pestilens plan is wholly successful.
All right, for the fourth option, I've got two outlandish fucking ideas, and I'll let you pick
both. Let's go.
We've only got space for one. So the first option, which is a crackpot bullshit theory, but might as well have fun with it because it is a what if, is that out of desperation, the Skaven do something more clever and they ally with Van Hal. So they managed to forge an alliance with the undead, and things get shaky and interesting. They've done it before.
What's your second one?
The second one is that, sensing that his children are about to fail and shit's about to go tits up, the Great Horned Rat accelerates his plans and he sends out the Vermin Lords. So Screech Vermin King and the Shadow Council basically do what they did in the end times as the Skaven are rising into ascendancy, and they step in and take control of the situation.
Yeah, I quite like that. I think that's probably the better of the two, because the undead one doesn't seem to match Van Hal's character frightfully well.
It doesn't. It would be a huge change to Van Hal.
Where the second one absolutely does fit. Because what we're saying here is that the Horned Rat looks in and sees success is within their grasp. The Great Ascendancy can occur, but as it stands, it won't occur. And the Horned Rat decides to move. What this is suggesting is actually something a bit deeper than might be first obvious, and that is effectively saying that this is a time of great magic, because for this many greater demons to effectively manifest within the mortal realms, we need to have ourselves a lot of magic, which means that we're probably dealing with an Ever-Chosen rising about the same time, which I think would be a really fun, different version. So the what if here, in some respects, is what if the Black Plague happened at the same time as an Ever-Chosen assaulting somewhere else? So there's a great raise of magic if you go with this one, and because of the great waxing of power coming from the gates, the Horned Rat takes advantage of this and manifests greater demons across the realms, allowing the Skaven to rise up and win this battle, even though Skaven are dying all over the place to plague, almost certainly, as Nurgle is cackling away. So what we're effectively doing with this one is we're saying that the Skaven have uprisen during one of the great waxing of the Chaos Gates.
Yeah. Okay. So Hawk, you're over on Twitch. Are you available to do the poll options? Would you mind handling those? If yes, then I'll read out what I've written and you can just copy them real fast.
Let's see if Hawk's even in the chat.
He was just a minute ago.
No!
Or any mod. It doesn't have to be Hawk. Any mod over in Twitch chat. Because that would make my life way easier if so.
Yay!
Yes,
Hawk just
awesome.
said yes.
Okay, great. That makes me happy. Okay, so
everybody bow
one,
down to Hawk.
Yes,
You're not
yes,
worthy.
please.
Thank you, Hawk.
Y'all have no idea how much shit Hawk does for us behind the scenes. You really don't know. So option 1 is Clan Pestilens takes control. In this, Clan Pestilens achieves big ultimate victory. They have a lot more control over the Council of 13. If you've seen our old Skrulk video for Lorebeards and you want to see a continuation of what if Skrulk had been ultimately successful, then this will be
one.
Then this is that storyline of the full ascendancy of Clan Pestilens. Second option is strong military victory by the Skaven. So just strong military victory. So this is that one of the great warlords, such as Warlord Vermic of Clan Moors, manages to defeat Major Skaven Slayer at the Battle of the Howling Hills, which is totally not in Huckland. And they have a big epic showdown, and the warlord clans binding the various different Skaven together ultimately are able to achieve success, and Skavendom is a little more balanced in its unity. Then we have the third option, which is the Black Plague doesn't infect Skaven, or Plague doesn't infect Skaven, where the Skaven the Gracier clan fails in their attempt to disrupt things. So the Graciers are kind of not in a good place, but the rest of Skavendom is strong. Clan Pestilens is strong, but they're playing nice and working well with the other clans. And the Skaven do not suffer the colossal amount of attrition and setbacks that they do in the other versions of this story.
So it's quite different to our other versions where we might be saying that the warlord clans help or whatever, because in all of those, disease is going to be massively infecting all sides later on in the campaign. In this one, the Skaven and Clan Pestilens wage exactly the war that Clan Pestilens wish to wage.
And then the fourth and final option is the Vermin Lords are unleashed. And this is the Great Horned Rat. The world is in a different place. A great storm of chaos, a great storm of magic has been just breathed out by the North and South Waste. There's an Everchosen somewhere else in the world, and the Great Horned Rat takes advantage of the situation to unleash the Vermin Lords, who course correct the Skaven by just grabbing control of the reins. If you want to see a potential the Skaven versus an Everchosen storyline, this is the one to go for.
Yeah, because the Skaven are not chaos, no matter how much people might want them to be so. And this would be an example of that as an outcome, because it would be almost certainly Skaven versus chaos, relatively close to the beginning of our story.
Let's do 5 minutes for that. Oh, Hawk's already done. Okay, good. Okay, that's up and running. Great, cool.
Good.
So, so first option, once again, last time, first option is very, very, like, you're just like super hardcore Clan Pestilens. You want to hear a lot about maybe what Skrulk's storyline could have been different. That's option 1. Option 2 is the Skaven stay far more unified, and they actually managed to achieve a great victory, but they did suffer a lot of losses, but they have a more balanced act. Clan Pestilens, the Graciers plan basically worked, so the Graciers have kind of balanced out Skavendom to sort of its traditional situation. Option 3 is that the Gracier plan just failed. The Graciers fucked up big time, but the Warlord clans in all of Skavendom are significantly more on the ball and a lot more powerful. And the fourth option is that it's actually one of the
chaos,
and the, like, I don't know, probably at this point, like 6th or 7th Everchosen has shown up somewhere in the world. And the Skaven get to take advantage of the situation.
Alrighty, let's dive into some super chats as we're waiting for that to vote to take place.
Are you okay? Some of those words came out a little.
Yeah, I was reading something at the same time and it all garbled out at once. My brain couldn't cope with 2 things going at once.
Just make sure you're not having a stroke. I'm just checking.
Not yet.
Loremaster Dex, hello Andy, and Sotek, love your streams, and thank you so much. Kind of off topic, we take those here. But what are your thoughts on the new Hatchet Lord AOS? I like it so far. I'm very interested to read the book.
Yeah, called it.
Yeah, I mean, literally, they just stole our idea, which is fine. That's fine.
It's classic Age of Sigmar lore where gods are godsing. And yeah, it's fine. I'm looking forward to seeing where it goes next.
All I'm saying is that Age of Sigmar is kind of keeping up its track record of going like, what if we took this piece of fantasy lore and did what should have been done with it? They're pretty good about that a lot of the time. Battlefoot, do Gelt and Skrulk still get married and live in wedded bliss in the timeline? Yes.
Dude, no.
You don't want to curse Gelt with Lord Skrulk wife?
Nope.
He'd like it too much.
Gelt's the wife.
He's the Maxfield. Can Grail Knights resist Skaven diseases? They would stand a much better. They'd stand a better chance. The purity of the ladies. Yeah, they're very mixed. That's kind of like asking would a Chaos champion of any god stand a better chance? They might. It just depends on their blessings. Captain Magma, if Skaven take over Middenheim, there's a good chance they accidentally blow out the flame of Ulrich and reignite the Great Cataclysm and blow up the world early. Hilarious. We'll consider that.
Yep, it's funny, Captain Magma.
That is very funny, actually. We'll take that into calculations, because you're right. There is a chance they might do what Archaon wanted to do way faster than Archaon did it, and without meaning to, which is extra funny. Skylar Martin, a Skaven clan tries to colonize End. Last anyone hears from them is, abort, stop! Tiger meets cat, abort!
Abort, stop! No!
What did you press it? Release the Everskaven. There's no such thing as an Everskaven. It would simply be the favored of the Great Horned Rat, and they would be going up against the Everchosen. They are, in the end times, out of desperation, the Skaven picked a side. But there have been many Everchosens. Asvar Kul is actually a good example if GW doesn't fuck up the lore, where the Skaven have, which they very well might, where the Skaven have gone up against Everchosens. Asvar Kul did not want to deal with Hellpit.
Yep. True fact.
All right, how we doing on the time?
Bring up the next one there. Super Orlock. Quick question. Have the Gospodars arrived yet? No, they have not. They will not arrive for a good 400 years. As I recall.
Yeah, so they're probably going to have more of a show up, look over the mountain pass, go, go back the other way. Yeah, actually, though, realistically, this will probably end up being a vote of if they do still show up, because they could have a dramatic impact.
Yeah, if we're going with the established lore, and we're going with, for example, our Everchosen arriving relatively soon, it's more likely the Gospodars are on that side.
Yeah, but if it's more like the Skaven are consolidating, then they might have an invasion they have to deal with. Gaston, if we're facing an Everchosen, can it be Shirian from Shirian. Well, that'll end up probably being a vote. If we go with that storyline, that'll probably end up being a vote. That is an available option, I'll say.
And for those of you who don't know what that is, we did a what if. We did a create an Everchosen stream.
Build an Everchosen.
Yeah, create an Everchosen stream, and we created one. And what was built with the audience was Shirian, who was pretty awesome Everchosen.
And that is time.
I think I can guess which one's
it
won
is
without
over.
Is there any chance chaos everywhere?
Yes, it is overwhelmingly on both chats. The end times have come. The bell tolls.
That's the bell tolls for thee.
That's a great choice.
Okay, so what we have is effectively the same story that is presented in the Black Plague trilogy and the Skaven army lists ad infinitum, because each of them also tell that tale. And loosely it is the Skaven, currently underneath the strong influence of Clan Pestilens, attempt their great ascendancy to take over the world. And they decide to do it through the Empire, just going north from Skaven Blight and starting there. Because Skaven Blight is the center of all Skaven, but also Clan Pestilens have succeeded down in large parts of the south already. Clan Pestilens is currently in ascendancy. Large parts of the Southlands are entirely theirs, and presumably parts of Lustria also. And they are taking over the Empire. However, throughout the course of the decade or so of fighting, it's beginning to go wrong. Disease is spreading rampantly. The Skaven are backbiting. Issues are going wrong. But it's also a time of great chaos. It's a time when the gates themselves are waxing and magic is flooding the world. And sensing that this opportunity can be turned towards a win, the Horned Rat decides to directly influence the outcome of this war and to support his chosen children, the Skaven, in their campaigns in the Empire. Meaning that instead of the war collapsing into horrible attrition as diseased forces are fighting across the Empire, dying until eventually Manfred Ratslayer, or Skaven Slayer, depending on which version of him we go with, crushes force after force. Instead, those same forces are then led by demons. Grey Seers able to summon up far greater hordes of rats from the realm of ruin as they magically come thrumming forward and wipe out the Imperial forces arrayed against them. We are saying that the Empire circa around about 1125, 1130 falls. And it falls because of the direct intervention of greater demons, which is pretty freaking cool.
Yeah, you get that epic final battle scene of dear old Manfred Skaven Slayer. If only he had Galmaraz. Oh, actually, no, he does get Galmaraz. Does he? Yeah, he does for that final battle. But despite having it.
Although, if we go with the enemy within, he doesn't get Galmaraz.
That's true. He gets. Poor bastard.
Gets a fake Galmaraz.
He got Galmaraz.
Yeah. But, so indeed, that even could be our tale. He thinks he's got Galmaraz. It literally says Galmaraz on it. It's not actually Galmaraz.
Not the Timu Galmaraz.
In fact, just as a small aside, it's something that we I noticed the other day. Some of the official art from Games Workshop that should say Galmaraz on it doesn't. It says Agelmaraz. So in many respects, official Games Workshop art reflects this outcome where they've got a fake hammer that they think is the real one, but Agelmaraz instead is used, and it goes wrong for poor old Manfred.
Yeah, and you can just imagine him fighting valiantly, perhaps even still striking down the warlord, and that should have been the end of it. That should have been the great victory, but a shadow looms over him as one of the great vermin lords, perhaps Screech Vermin King himself, finally decides to take to the field of battle, and there's nothing he can do. And so falls the Empire's savior.
So what we have is an empire that has now been effectively taken over by the Skaven. And the Skaven aren't doing what we know Skaven do, which is sitting beneath the cities, effectively squatting in the ruins. No, this is the Great Ascendancy. This is a different form of Skavendom. They have decided to take over what is above and to enslave whatever remaining populations there are. So effectively, what is currently Skavenblight, and Skavenblight's really the only open Skaven city that we are aware of, turns into all of the Empire cities. As the local populaces are enslaved, Skaven are living above ground, not below. All of the various humans, elves, dwarves, or whatever else may be living there, halflings, become slaves or are driven out. Beastmen suffer the same fate. Orcs suffer the same fate. Anything that stands up against them suffers the same fate. But we've chosen one where the Vermin Lords are also in existence here. We've also chosen one where Clan Pestilens is not the only victor. Other clans have successfully been a part of this conflict. Clan Pestilens, for all it is the driver behind it, they could not secure this win themselves. So they do not have the same strength of position that they might have had with other ones of our various choices.
Yeah, and one thing that I think we can actually take from the End Times lore that would work in this scenario and is fun is that the Vermin Lords, the Shadow Council of 13 as they're known, each have their own clan that they like to back. They desire a particular balance to the Council of 13. So they're not going to, Screech Vermin King in particular, the big boss, is not going to tolerate Clan Pestilens having like 3 seats on the council.
They had more at this point, I think.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you're right. I think they had 5.
It's this is them at their peak. It was like they, as I recall, they could outvote anyone else on the council.
Yeah. So I think if we're going by the Vermin Lords getting involved in like the 1125-ish, then like 2 of them have died. But in any event, they get things settled. So now what we need to decide, dearest chat, dearest community, is what happens next? Where do the Vermin Lords try and direct their children? Because the Vermin Lords, for all they are attempting to keep things under control, they still do have their own plots and schemes.
Yeah, so I think maybe a different question needs to be answered, which is what happens with the great waxing of the gates? Because that's going to tell us if the Vermin Lords can actually do anything. Because it's very possible the gates close their great swash of magic because the Everchosen is defeated elsewhere. And if that's the case, then the Vermin Lords are just going to fuck off. There's almost nothing they can do except for fight from the shadows because there's no longer enough magic in the world to sustain them. So that being the case, we might want to answer first, what happens with the other Everchosen? Is it victorious? Is it not victorious? Where does it go? Because we can't really decide whether the Vermin Lords are doing anything until we know whether the Vermin Lords can even exist.
Okay, I dig that. So for this poll, we'll say, what's the Everchosen up to?
Yeah. What's the Everchosen up to, everyone?
So option 1 is the very straightforward one of the Everchosen is defeated.
And we will say, we'll decide as well afterwards with a poll. If you go with this one, our poll will be something like by either Cathayans or by Dark Elves. The obvious route through from the north on both sides, but it won't be the Skaven because they're coming in there, and it's not part of the known old world story. So it's definitely a story for elsewhere. We won't be having the Everchosen coming in against the Skaven with that one.
Yep. The second option would be, let's do the Everchosen. Second option, we'll have the Everchosen starts heading towards the Empire.
Yeah, so that means that they've had a success somewhere else. If you do this, we are going to destroy a faction. Okay, yeah. So this is an Everchosen wipes out one of the other factions. It'll probably be Cathay. Okay, so if you choose this one, we're going to fuck Cathay.
Yep, and then they'll start heading towards Skavendom.
Yeah, and they'll head off in that direction.
Third option, Everchosen successful far away. So we could have like they win over in like Lustria or Nagaroth or End or something
like that
land. But they're doing something somewhere else. They're
so the war is ongoing with option 3, but it's so far away that it's not something that the Skaven need to directly deal with just now. So yep. Option number 1, chaos stops. Option number 2, chaos arrives. Option number 3, chaos is ongoing. That might actually be enough.
I think that's a good 3 options.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty good 3 options.
So I'm doing Everchosen is defeated, which would close the gates, meaning the vermin. So while the Vermin Lords have managed to organize the situation and make sure that they quite literally help the Skaven snatch victory from the jaws of defeat, they have just had enough time to basically reestablish the
bastards. They're like,
that's about it.
Control, yes, and then suddenly the Vermin Lords are vanishing all over the place, and in some cases almost certainly being wiped out by their Skaven slaves.
Oh yeah,
because they'll be stabbing them in the back as much as anything else.
Yeah. Second option is going to be the Everchosen wins. We'll say in Cathay because that just makes it easier.
I think Cathay makes sense.
Yeah, and then that Everchosen starts barreling towards Skaven, which means the Skaven have to get ready. They have to prepare.
So the second one is a big war is coming, and Cathay is screwed. Our dragons will no longer be a force in this what if, because our what if is effectively what if Cathay was destroyed by a Everchosen. In some respects, that's the question you're posing rather than the Skaven one, but it's had a ramification with the Skaven.
Yep. Because word from Clan Pestilens would come quick, real quick. And then the third option is that the Everchosen is occupied. So the Everchosen is winning and doing well, but they are busy elsewhere, but the gates stay open, so the Vermin Lords are still in control.
Yep. I think that's perfect.
Great.
I like that as a mix.
All right, we're firing off the poll. You got 5 minutes. And that gives us time to get caught up on Super Chats and such. We were over to here. Captain Magma, Clan Pestilens come back from Cathay yet here? If the Everchosen destroys Cathay, hell yeah, they're coming back.
Yeah.
Because they're gonna have to. If the Everchosen is defeated, they absolutely will not. And if the third one, that might be something we have to decide. If the Everchosen is busy making a mess elsewhere. Aquacane, the Gospodars, maybe we should settle Norska instead.
well, if the Everchosen's being successful, the opposite might be the case. They'll be like, hey, we're being successful because they're alongside the Chaos Forces.
Dino Man, idea I just had. if an Everchosen targeted the Southlands, you could have a Clan Pestilens and Lizardmen working together, kind of not really, to fight chaos, or maybe likely a three-way war.
That's not entirely dissimilar to what happens whenever they move through the Empire, where Skaven are often fighting against chaos, while simultaneously Kislev are fighting against the chaos as well. So it's not that they're fighting alongside each other, it's just they're both defending against the incoming horde.
Yeah, the Skaven are they're surprisingly good defenders of territory against any invading force, whether it's greenskins, chaos, undead.
Because they're paranoid.
Yeah, they don't want a lot of these big problems messing around with them because they don't want their stuff touched.
And the stuff that they have and the world in which they live is often very difficult to gain access to by other species and factions, because it really helps if you're a Skaven to get down into their horrible holds.
Yep. Next up, we've got Dynamad. Does the Imperial Army at this time look more like Bretonnia? Nah, they're all slaves now. They're way worse than peasants. Way worse.
They're all Skaven slaves at this point now.
Yeah, it is. The peasant is Bretonia's looking real nice, though. If y'all don't send the Everchosen over, Bretonia is probably about to be on the food platter, so to speak.
Yeah.
Charles CK, are normal rats all thrown to the horn rat? No,
not at all. In the same way that not all wolves are enthralled to Ulrich, in the same way that not all X is enthralled to X God. The answer to this is always no for the Warhammer world, because the Warhammer world is a far bigger, deeper, and more divinely inspired place than most people realize. Rats, for example, are entirely wrapped up in, for example, Tal, the great god of beasts. Okay, he is also tied to rats and all other animals. So the answer to this is a very clear and definite no. The Skaven are the Horned Rats province, and rats are often controlled by Skaven. And if you go to the Realm of Ruin, it's full of rats, but that's the Horned Rats, not empirical rats.
Yeah, there are different kinds of rats. Donoman, just a thought. What did the Skaven do to the Flame of Ulrich?
Well, we're going to have that one.
We're probably about to find out. Very, very likely that is coming down the chute real quick.
Yeah, I think so.
Because I will say, if y'all end up going more with like the Everchosen is defeated, the Verminlords get removed, but also Cathay is in potentially a very vulnerable position. Because while they'll have defeated the Everchosen, they're going to be wounded, which the Skaven might try and take advantage of. Whereas if the Everchosen is like ultimately victorious and then starts heading towards Skavendom, they're going to be more on defensive. They're going to be less focused on, we're going to go keep conquering. Whereas if the Everchosen is occupied, then the Skaven are probably going to look to consolidate and start attacking nearby forces like dwarfs, Bretonia. I was about to say Kislev, but there kind of is no Kislev.
Yeah, doesn't exist at the moment.
Yeah, Norska.
That's actually part of the Empire. Kislev is part of the Empire just now.
Everchosen Quetho. Quetho probably would not be invited. I'm going to be honest. The Skaven, I don't think would want anything to do with him. More than likely. I don't even think the Verminlords like him. Ted Barrera, Loremasters of the Beard. Slightly off topic. I recently got the 4-book Genevieve collection. Currently on 40K's Fall of Cadia, but I felt it was time for more fantasy books after having gone through most of Gotrek and Felix. Awesome.
Yeah, Genevieve is quite a different pace, as I think you'll find when you go through it. There's some really nice mixture of stories in there.
Yeah, it's an older series, but it has a lot of great parts. You'll see some stuff that you'll probably go, what? But just roll with it and have a good time. Okay, time's almost
That's
up.
The case for most books, though.
If you have not voted, hurry up and vote. Just saying. Dinoman. To clarify, I meant, did the Imperial Army look more like Modern Bretonnia because no gun? Okay. So
the answer to this one is complicated because different authors have taken different views of what the Empire was historically. And the answer is, according to some, it's identical to what it is in 2500 almost, with almost no difference barring the amount of cannons and black powder weapons that might be around. But beyond that, pretty much the same, right down to what they look like and how they dress. Where the answers to other is, they're maybe a bit more barbaric, maybe a little bit more like that, but maybe not, we don't know. Most of the knightly orders that we are aware of today don't exist yet, although some of the big clerical orders do. So some of the big ones to say Ulrich, like the Knights of the White Wolf, they absolutely exist, as do some others. So they've definitely got quite a few big Templar orders. They have none of the secular orders, so none of the orders like the Knights Panther or the Knights Griffin or any equivalent not Knights Griffin. That's Sigmarite Order. Pardon me. The Knights Jaguar is what I meant to say there. So kinda, yeah, but they still look like the Empire because Games Workshop loves their Empire to look like the Empire, no matter what era it comes from.
So this one took a very interesting twist because YouTube went sort of the standard. Well, YouTube was pretty divided. Twitch, however, was not very divided, but went in a very different direction than I was anticipating.
Okay,
so
combining, because I've got it up here.
Combining percentages, the Everchosen heads to Skavendom only managed to acquire 46% from both.
So that
chats.
didn't get much of a side from Twitter there. Not
No,
Twitter, I mean Twitch.
Twitch did not go for that at all.
Interesting. What did Twitch go for?
Well, we'll find out in a second. The Everchosen is occupied, so the Everchosen is still alive, but busy somewhere else in the world. Got 74%
Whoa!
of the vote. Pretty dramatic. And then on 78% say the Everchosen was slain.
Alrighty. Okay,
So but okay, I do want to do a slight caveat, which is that there are significantly more people, like times 10 people voting on YouTube versus Twitch.
Yeah, but I quite like the idea that if you happen to be over in Twitch, your vote has weight. So if you want to have your vote to have more weight, make sure you vote in Twitch too. So that being the case, I'm quite happy to win with that and just say the Everchosen is eventually defeated. I quite like that. It's nice. It gives a good story. It's not what YouTube would have suggested would be the outcome, but it's definitely the overall outcome. I think that's awesome. And I'm totally up for that.
Okay, Hawk, here's what I'll say. I don't want to do the math of having to add the individual votes.
Oh, no, we're not doing that. It's the percentages that matter. So the percentage of Twitch plus the percentage of YouTube.
So if you're on Twitch and you just went, oops, I didn't want to do that. Well, you should have voted for a different option.
Yeah, absolutely. So that being the case, what we have then is that the Everchosen is, after a prolonged and very difficult war, defeated. The Everchosen struck down from the north into probably Cathay and breaches the Great Wall there. The Bastion falls in several places and they charge into the depths of Cathay itself. Equally, up over in the north of Nagaroth, there is a great pressure of forces building there as well. But we're looking to have the Everchosen eventually defeated. So our Dark Elves largely hold. Their great watchtowers are bastioned and hold out while the main force pushes down into Cathay, takes out maybe about a third of Cathay's territory before eventually, after almost 15 years of war, the Everchosen is slain, probably somewhere down in the middle of Cathay somewhere. The Skaven are potentially a core component of that, with Clan Pestilens looking to assassinate both leaders on both sides, because they are taking a very neutral view in this whole war. Effectively, they want Cathay to fall, but they also don't want the Chaos Forces to succeed. They basically want everything to be in a state of disarray, and that's what they're going to have. We've got a Cathay that is deeply, deeply wounded. We have an old world which has half fallen come the end of this period to the Skaven, and the primary reason that they were successful has now winked out largely of existence. The demons that were desperate to hold on and claim the great ascendancy for themselves no longer can, and are being replaced by Skaven warlords, by the clan warlords, and by the clan seers, or whomever else we decide. So the old world falls into the hands of, ultimately, mostly Clan Pestilens, with the other great clans still holding their bastions, but disease has ravaged all sides, because we didn't go with the disease does not affect them. So the Skaven are not as numerous as they could be, but they are above ground, and they are in control.
Yep, and because y'all went with the vote you went with, the Skavendom is pretty split between powers. Like the Greyseers have a foothold.
Yeah.
So there is a lot of betrayal potentially afoot. But now that the babysitters have been removed from the situation, the Skaven have the ability very much to continue conquest. There's a lot of word coming.
Is he still there? Uh-oh. He appears to have paused on my side. I have no idea if I'm the one that's paused or if he's the one that paused. If someone could drop a comment and say that one of us isn't working, that would be great. I'm not getting any more comments running in, so I'm half convinced it's me that's okay. Oh no, the comments are coming. Skaven have got him. He's frozen. It's not my fault. Yes, the Skaven have taken out Sotek. Clearly, and I'm going to use this detail, Clan Pestilens has also risen up down in Lustria, and they have taken a decisive blow against Sotek and all of his various minions down there. This is what this freezing of Sotek represents. That Clan Pestilens has taken control of, he's disappeared, has taken control of large chunks of Lustria because of this, and also the old world. I think there's one other thing that we should say as well. Because of the great successes of this war, Clan Pestilens is the primary group that's taken control of the empire. It's not a patchwork of different clans. The clans have already got their own holds, but they don't hold Skaven Blight. They weren't entirely successful. If they had been the ones who were wholly successful for everything, they would have taken also all the power and the seats in Skaven Blight. Instead, Clan Scryer still holds Skaven Blight, and the other great clans are holding their individual places. Hell Pit up in the north, Clan Eshin over in the east. You get the idea. But Clan Pestilens in particular has taken control over the old world.
That was weird.
Okay, so you know what you missed. Because you froze, clearly Clan Pestilens has taken over large chunks of Lustria, and Sotek is in a very weird place. Because you froze. Okay? Because you froze.
Wow.
That's what happens.
What is this level of determinism?
So, cut a long story short so that you can be where we've discussed. The old world largely falls to Clan Pestilens, but Skaven Blight is still held by Clan Scryer because Clan Pestilens didn't win overall, but they have their plan was successful. So the primary owner of the old world is Clan Pestilens, with all the other clans working with them and mixing in as you would expect, but above ground. Clan Pestilens has also risen up down in Lustria, but in the Southlands they've been finding it a tougher ask because they've been fighting so much in their individual places.
Yeah, so I think at this point the best decision would be to figure out where they're going to attack, which also can kind of tell us which clan is starting to have the most influence post Vermin Lord. If they decide to go after the Southlands / Lustria, Clan Pestilens is saying we should consolidate our territory.
If we're doing this, we're saying Lustria is already half gone because you froze. So it's already half gone. Okay, so no matter which one you go with, Lustria is half gone. But if you want to take out Lustria in the Southlands, now's the time to go. And the story you're saying is Clan Pestilens is driving the agenda.
Yeah, so this is Clan Pestilens manages to take enough power by like scheming and stuff that they're funneling all of those resources from the captured empire down to the south.
100%, yeah.
So that's our first option. Second option is that Clan Eshin manages to manipulate matters well enough that all of this new power and influence and slave legions and tech goes east and is unleashed against Cathay, who are already deeply wounded and bleeding.
Indeed. So option number 2 is the disrupted Cathay is going to be, and I'm going to be blunt, taken out. This isn't the we go to war with Cathay option. That's almost certainly going to be the case anyway. They're going to be up in arms over there. Clan Eshin and Cathay are going to be fighting no matter which option we go with. In the same way that fighting will be happening down in the Southlands and in Lustria, no matter which option we go with. What we're saying here is, though, that Cathay falls, which brings massive, and I do mean massive, influence to Clan Eshin.
I just linked to the chat. Where's Quito in the story? He showed up for 5 minutes and went, "Hey guys, what's up?" And then the Ever-Chosen died and he pooped back out of existence. It was that fast. All right, so the third option should be that the Skavendom kind of comes to a bit of a consolidated decision. They focus on the old world, which I think the next natural opponent would be the dwarfs.
Yeah, I'll go further on that one. I'll say that if we go with the old world option, the clan that's rising into a position of power is Clan Scryer. And Clan Scryer and the Grey Seers are looking to consolidate power around Skaven Blight. No matter how much Clan Pestilens may have taken over most of the Empire, they are looking to effectively turn all of the old world into Skavendom. The whole thing is Skaven Blight, effectively.
So, Bretonnia, Southern Realms, Dwarf...
The lot. If you choose this, you're basically saying that humanity in the old world is enslaved, and the war with the dwarfs has been engaged, and the war with the greenskin and the beastmen has been engaged. This is the old world falls to Skaven option, and Clan Scryer are the one that you're saying is currently in a position of dominance.
Also, Athelloren will be pretty heavily involved in that one as well.
The elves will be.
Okay, and then our final option, because I guess we can get weird with it. I always like the fourth ones being weird. Would be based on the story we were talking about. The Skaven, amidst their chittering and chattering, decide to go after a different vulnerable foe because of the power that could be gained, which is maybe they go after the Dark Elves of Nagaroth.
I go with Nagash. They hate Nagash.
Nagash isn't back yet.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, the Skaven already control Nagash's are, so what are they going to go after?
They are in Nagash's are just now, aren't they?
No, yeah, Clan Mord can control
it. No, they control it. Retract entirely. I mean, the Dark Elves are not in a weak position at this point, though. Why would you attack them?
Well, you're the one that said that some of the Ever-Chosen forces were slamming into Nagaroth simultaneously.
But they held off up there.
Well, what are we going to do for a fourth option then? Dark Clans?
Dark Clans. So we go over it effectively. We attack the Chaos Dwarves and the Ogres.
that would mean Clan Rictus.
Clan
takes
Rictus.
Advantage.
And maybe with Clan Moors as well. Basically, make this the Warlord
clans. The Warlord clans.
Yeah, that's a good one. Okay,
so going to war with the Dwarfs and the Greenskins.
Yeah, and the Warlord clans take primary action here. So we are looking at Greenskins, Ogres, and Chaos Dwarves being the target.
Wait. What about Clan Molder? So in the north, because Chaos is weak now.
Yeah,
Chaos is like wounded and back. I think it's a better choice.
A gigantic fourth option being let's plow north and take everything that we can, and Clan Molder is looking to consolidate its position and take all of the crazy chaos beasts in the north so that they can then use it. So Clan Molder will be the one that unexpectedly takes the advantage here. So yeah, that's quite nice. I like that. That's got character. And it also fits around the old world story a bit better in terms of what we'll be building there. So first option is Clan Pestilens. Was it Clan Pestilens first one?
Yes.
And we are going south. Next option is Clan Eshin, and we're going east. The third option is Clan Scryer is dominant, and we take the old world. And the last one is Clan Molder is dominant, and we take into the Chaos Waste in the north. I will say for all of them, no matter which you choose, all theaters of war are open. None of these are saying that the theater of war in Lustria or Southlands or Cathay shuts down because they're concentrating elsewhere. The idea here is that Skaven are in ascendancy and they are going to war everywhere, but they succeed in one direction.
Yes, because in typical what-if fashion, the choices you don't vote for won't be going as well because all those resources are being pushed to a particular direction.
Indeed. So if you want Cathay to fall, you have to choose it now, because if you don't, it will consolidate and it will be in likely a stronger position after this. If you want the Lustrian bubble to burst, now's the time to say, the old one plan in the south is screwed. Clan Pestilens is ascendant and just rolls over Lustria and the Southlands. If alternatively you want to feel like the old world is Skavendom, you really want to bolster that, then go for that. That means that there'll be no great rebellion in the old world rising up against the effective Skaven Empire that's building. That won't occur. They hold the old world. It's really up to you what you want this story to evolve towards.
Yep, and the last option as well. I mean, the Skaven taking control of a lot of the Chaos Waste and stuff, there's a lot to be gained as far as Warpstone, horrible big chaos monstrosities, yoking chaos functionally, very spooky.
I don't think they yoke chaos ever really. But they'll get tons of stuff, but it's fair
less on the demon side, more on the
If you choose that, then it's likely the Skaven Empire as a whole will collapse.
Yeah,
because all of the areas they're working on don't get bolstered. All they're doing is gathering resources to the north, effectively, meaning that Cathay will no longer fall, Lustria will no longer fall. If you want the Skaven to do well, you don't really want to choose the north, because that will just make Clan Moulder do well. They'll love that.
Honestly, it's literally the situation of like, we have all this great, wonderful empire. What should we do with it? And Moulder's like, research. And they're like, what about like, no, research. great research.
Indeed. And then the whole empire collapses. Hilarious.
Wasting the budget on the space program. What a bunch of bastards. All right. While that's going, let's get caught up on some super chat stuff here. Because since I pieced out of existence, this is a fun question that might come up depending on where they go. Wonder how Manfred is doing, or is he not active yet? So the vampire counts, such as Vlad von Karstein, Manfred von Karstein, are out there. They're out in the world doing things. Somewhere, but they haven't taken their move yet.
Yeah, I mean, this is well before the vampire counts become a vampire count thing. Okay, so he's literally somewhere in the world.
Yeah, now, so according to most updated versions of the story, Van Hal did apprentice with Vlad for a little bit, so Vlad's in the ballpark. But so who knows, if y'all wander off and you don't consolidate in the old world, maybe there will be a great uprising of undead. Who's to say?
After this one, we're going to have an old world question, because we're going to have to figure out what happens in Middenheim anyway.
Yeah. Remember, you can vote on Twitch and YouTube. So if you were pissed off about the last vote, feel free to pop over to Twitch real quick and make sure your voice is heard to make sure Twitch chat behaves themselves. Downman, to clarify. We did.
Yeah, we did that one. We're good.
XL1, picturing a Grace here holding Galmaraz, staring down an Everchosen, wondering, how did I get here? It's very funny, actually. Giving the Gracier Galmaraz would not be a good idea, but I could definitely see a Gracier claiming Galmaraz, despite the fact it would be very stupid for him to be the one holding it. And he's just like, oh no, this was a terrible decision. Why didn't my lackeys stop me from doing this? They did this to get rid of me. That's such a thankful plot. It's not even funny. Donoman, suggestion to combine both. So we did combine, but the top two were the Everchosen was defeated and he was occupied. The Everchosen heading towards Skaven was last place.
Yeah. Agreed.
Also, future stream idea. Let's build Clan Eschen or Pestilens Citadel. That could be fun. The capital of those clans.
That could be a fun one. Because neither of them have a home. And it's honestly nonsense. Because they should.
Yeah, I'm a little surprised. Well, I'm not that surprised, but I'm a little surprised GW didn't mark a Clan Eschen big base on the Cathay map yet.
I am enormously surprised that no one did that, while simultaneously, like you, not surprised at all because no one thinks about it.
Yep. Watchdog 3079. What if the Great Horned Rat sends visions to Skrulk to find the real Galmaraz? Why? What? I think Galmaraz. I mean, I guess, but I feel like that would kind of not be that fruitful of a point.
If we go with the standard lore, it's just a hammer.
It's a cool hammer, but it's just. I mean,
it's really awesome. Hammer of the gods, all that, but it's just a hammer.
Well, listen, Galmaraz is neat, but it's mostly plot convenient as opposed to what it's actually capable of doing.
I mean, if you go with the LAWhammer version of what Galmaraz is, it's something much, much bigger. And it's much more the Warhammer. It's much more what is almost suggested by the background but never laid in. But that's not what Warhammer says. Warhammer is pretty damn certain about it. Warhammer and its established lore, it's just a dwarven hammer of uncertain provenance that was once wielded by a dwarf king and then passed to humanity.
Yeah, Galmaraz makes... It's weird. We don't have time to get into it right now. It's a really weird weapon that has a lot more. Age of Sigmar eventually clarifies what it is, but it makes it even weirder from a fantasy standpoint. Not in a bad way, but just in an interesting way.
It does. It makes it weird because it's a story that's designed for Age of Sigmar rather than one designed for Warhammer.
Gaston, would the Skaven push to unbind the Maelstrom? Hilarious, but unlikely.
I think the demons would.
Yeah, the demons definitely would. Well, okay, hold up. Are you talking about the Vortex or the Maelstrom?
I think he means the Vortex.
Yeah, I'll keep an eye out just to be sure, because as much as it would be hilarious to have a random Clan Scurvy side adventure, I don't think that's going to come up. Captain Magma, Mulder and Scryer are on fairly good terms, so I'd imagine a vote for 4 would also solidify the position of Scryer and Gracers. I don't. Because
I don't. If you choose that, in fact, it'll almost certainly do the opposite, Captain Magma.
Yeah, keep in mind, they're on friendly terms at the end times. So, like, during the storyline of the end times, they have maneuvered to be political allies. This was not the case almost 1,500 years ago.
Yeah, this is going to be Clan Mulder come out on top and almost certainly start attacking Clan Scryer. It's a very different outcome. If you want Clan Scryer to be in a good place, you need to choose the old world option.
Was there a Twitch vote? I didn't see it.
Has it already landed on Twitch?
If so, I feel like it might have been too short. Did anybody catch the percentages? Because I didn't even see it. I
didn't see it. I might bring up Twitch.
Oh, he did mean the vortex.
Good.
The demons would definitely want to. So if the vermin lords had remained, they would have gone for the vortex.
Definitely.
But they got punted out. So I don't think the Skaven would go for it, to be honest. I think they would try and they would be like, it was heavy on go north. Okay. Well, that means it's time for the YouTube, and overwhelmingly, but y'all are not voting where I expect you to vote, and it is weirding me out. I mean, good for y'all. Good for y'all. But on both chats, by a staggering percentage, Skaven go north.
So
they get greedy.
You've really chosen to do what Skaven do, which is get greedy. They have seen the great power vacuum in the north, and Clan Mulder et al. Have decided that, yes, let's plow north, and the area, the theatre of war where they're most successful is their attempts to grab power from the north. So what does this mean overall? Several things.
What is all this celebrating?
So
yeah, it's great.
If you are the Horned Rat, this was the worst option.
Dude, the Horned Rat's going, no!
Because his minions have chosen greed over consolidation of power. Cathay falls out of their hands. The great war that's going on in Cathay, the dragons rise up. Maybe one of them is dead because of what happened with the Everchosen over there. But Clan Eshin is pushed back over the course of the next so many decades.
The shadows.
Down in the south, in Lustria and the Southlands, where the Clan Pestilens objectives were really going strongly, Southlands, they lose. And their strongholds are all that's left in the Southlands. Over in Lustria, they've got about half the territory they gained, and that's it. Courtesy of Sotek freezing. So they've gained about half the territory there, but it is embattled on all sides, and they are not winning, to the point that they are probably going to lose over the course of the next century. Up into the old world, it gets worse. Much worse, as humanity rises in a fashion that nobody really expects. And the Skaven Empire, which is all over the Empire, plus the Wasteland, up into
I'm so
Troll
excited
Country,
for this vote.
all of that area, which was the Skaven Empire, is besieged. And they are trying to bring the creatures of the north down into the south. And in the north, Clan Mulder is drawing into ascendancy because of this. Skaven Blight itself is now known and is besieged. It is getting attacked by the Tillian, Estalian forces that are down in the south, who have banded together in a way that they never previously had done so. All of their great arguments about Myrmidia, was she Tillian, was she Estalian, have been answered with, I fucking hate Skaven, and if we don't solve this, we're in trouble. So Skaven Blight's besieged. The Empire is besieged. Britonia as a place has risen, and modern-day Britonia, as we understand it, is already falling very much into place, and errantry wars are going to be pushing into the modern-day Empire and that area. This place is under attack from all sides. There's only one place where Skaven are doing really well, and that's in the north. And in the north, they are killing it. And they're killing it because in the north, the great forces of chaos that were up there, siphoned down through Cathay, had their asses handed to them over the course of a decade or so, and it's given the Skaven a power vacuum that they can move into, and they are, contrary to many people's expectations, really quite resistant to chaos. really quite resistant to chaos. And they are grabbing creatures, warpstone, and in the north, they are gaining significant influence. And Clan Moulder in particular are now selling their creatures down into all of the besieged areas elsewhere. The Horde Rat is in a state of apoplectic rage because the Empire, the Great Ascendancy, is falling apart because of the choices that you've made. But Clan Moulder individually has now reached a point where it thinks it can take on the very heart of the Skaven themselves and do what Clan Pestilens did before, which is take control.
Hell Pit is big. Like, Hell Pit is like digging down, spreading out. It's like a cancer growth on the surface of the planet.
Yeah, absolutely. And we've probably got ourselves 2 or 3 equivalents to Hell Pit. Further north, one in Northskull, one sitting in the south of the Chaos Wastes. Several minor clans that are working underneath Clan Moulder are raising. Effectively, over the course of this century, we have swollen Clan Moulder to the point that it's in equal power to Clan Pestilens in the rest of the world and Clan Eshin where it was before. Clan Moulder is a small clan in the greater scheme of things, but it's enormously powerful because of what it controls and what it sells to others. The choice we've made is to make it a big clan. It's now a big clan with its resources as well, and it's now beginning to use that as a stranglehold to take over Skavendom as a whole.
Yeah, so I think the next vote, which is going to be really fun, would be deciding who is the most prominent threat to the Skaven in the old world. Like, who...
I think we need to resolve Middenheim first, because it's a big question.
Oh, okay, that's fair. That's fair. What are the Skaven up to in Middenheim? Because it has been a bit.
It has been. We're going to be looking at about a century down the line at this point, from the point when the Great War occurred in the Empire. And the truth of whatever the Middenheim flame is going to need to be resolved somehow.
I'm going to trust y'all with a very stupid option that could have a very sudden result.
We all know what will happen.
So the first option, which is very stupid, and I don't think you should vote for it, but you can if you're hell-bent, is that the Skaven destroy the world. That they find Archaon's doomsday device, and being the idiots they are, they set it off.
Effectively, yes. They are responsible for blowing up the world, and this is what happens.
If you do this, the stream will basically be over. We'll catch up on Super Chats, maybe do a little bit of Q&A, and call it a day.
Oh, that's freaking amazing. Okay, so option 1 will be that the Skaven take control of Middenheim, and over the course of the next century, use it to destroy and fragment the world and bring the realm of ruin to the Warhammer world. It's not just they destroy it, it's that the Skaven win. That's the decision you're choosing.
Yeah, the Skaven will start off in a very advantageous position for Age of Sigmar.
Yeah, totally. They are effectively taking control of the end of the world scenario, and the story of the Horned Rat in Age of Sigmar is accelerated by several tens of thousands of years, where the Horned Rat reaches ascendancy. So, wow.
Second option, really fun. So, and I'm going to do this based on some LAWhammer, but also actually written Cubicle 7 lore. I would say the Lorelorn saves the city. They open the world, the hidden path at the top of the city, and they flood out to save it.
Yeah, so the second option is that the Aeonir, that's the Lorelorni elves, who are embattled in the north and hidden in their ancient trees, see the great threat that is happening here and decide that they have to directly resolve it, and they take Middenheim in its entirety and effectively have to move out of the Lorelorn in some degree and take hold in Middenheim itself.
Third option, very simple and easy and straightforward, is humanity rebels. Ulrich empowers humanity, and they rebel, they fight back against the Skaven, and they win.
Yeah, so the third option is, because we've already made it quite clear that the old world battle is going badly for the Skaven. It's only in the north it's going well. So the third option is, instead of the elves taking control, it's humanity itself, and perhaps it's a mixture of errantry knights that are coming in and supporting from that side, or humans that were enslaved across the north of what was once the Empire, but they rise up behind a great figure and effectively free Middenheim, and only Middenheim, giving a small human state in the center of this great Skavendom.
All right, fourth option, potentially controversial. We'll see if Andy goes for it.
Yeah.
Is that Ulrich burns out. Ulrich unleashes a tidal wave eruption of flame. Middenheim either goes off like a volcano or the whole city just burns, but the flame goes out.
Yeah, I don't think this is a bad idea at all. So option number 4 is effectively we get ourselves a super volcano. Because if you look at what Middenheim is, it's clearly a great volcanic plug of exceedingly hard rock. And the volcano underneath it, because it's on its own rise, it's basically a giant magma chamber. And that magma chamber blows. It's a little bit like Yellowstone Park decides to go super volcano. And all of Yellowstone Park goes boom. But instead, we say all of Middenheim goes boom. And it creates
maybe some parts of Nordland and Midland just for fun.
Yeah, this enormous super volcano goes off in the north of the Empire, which is a weird outcome, which is kind of freaking cool. Okay, so option number 1.
And I will note that if you pick any of the options that are not the first one, the Skaven are going to lose access to the Doomsday device.
Yeah, absolutely. So if you don't choose Skaven do this, Skaven are not going to win the Warhammer world. Let's be very clear on that. They're just not, because they are going to be doing other things and someone takes over Middenheim or whatever else it might be. Option number 1 is that the Skaven blow up the world and bring it to the realm of ruin. Love it. Option number 2 is, I've already forgotten. You're writing them down.
Yeah, option number 2 is that the Lorelorn elves, the Aenir, successfully invade Middenheim and they take it for the elves.
So the elves take Middenheim. Option number 3 is the humans take Middenheim.
Yep.
Or option number 4 is that Middenheim goes boom.
Yep.
Sounds fun.
All right, get your votes in, people. Get your votes in. I mean, honestly, I wouldn't be that upset if the stream ended. I'm just saying. You know, there are other things. I could go get dinner.
It would be super funny. Unlike any of our big streams of this ilk, I would laugh quite a lot.
Let's see. Donovan, if we go north, imagine if Mulder manages to get a home to Dragon Ogre Shaggots. They definitely would.
That's happening. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, that is happening.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, to be clear, things are going to go kind of bad for the Skaven parts of the old world, but in the north, they are horribly strong.
Yeah.
Scryer's space program soon. Literally, that is the whole point of the Vortex campaign in Total War Warhammer 2. And it's very funny, and I love that cutscene every time I see it. Of that stupid Skaven Warlock Engineer driving the twin-tailed comet going, ah, before he crashes. Great. Is Kazrak eliminating the situation? Pretty much no matter what situation the Beastmen are still around. Though if you blow up Middenheim, he's probably gone. Well, actually, no. Kazrak's not been born.
He's not been born and won't be born for a good 1,500 years, so you don't need to worry about Kazrak at all just now.
Yeah, there are beastmen about. I'll put it that way. Brown, Clan Mulder supremacy. If only Throt was alive. Yeah, unfortunately, he's too much of a youngin. Aquicane, Gospodars. Norsca was a bad idea. Honestly, they would thrive. It wouldn't be as nice, but they would do well. They'd just be a different people.
They would be a chaos people, probably. The reason that they're not a chaos people is because of what happened in Kislev. So they would just be a replacement to the Norsey.
Yep. Get your votes in, by the way. Get your votes in. Time's about halfway up.
Yeah, at the moment, Skaven are not blowing up the world.
Damn.
The elves are mostly saving it in a most unexpected elf bullshit way.
What?
Yeah,
no, I don't.
Both the votes right now.
I feel like someone has kidnapped our chat and replaced them with very strange people.
Elves are winning. Awesome.
Yeah, really.
Although at the moment, Ulrich Exploding the World is doing particularly well over on YouTube, but not doing well on Twitch.
Donovan, Talayan is all united. Some of the electric no, some of the Pavis shields, pikemen and crossbows. Yeah, good old Pavis shields. Braum, time to unleash the bottom layer of Hellpit on the world. That might come up soon.
Yeah. And
things are happening.
Hellpit's going to be different. It's going to be bad.
Things are happening in Hellpit. Dino Man, given that I think Prague existed before Kislev, I think Clan Moors turned into a giant, horrific research zoo / holding area.
I think that's very likely.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah,
and then
all manner of horrible things.
Bold of you to assume a clan rat didn't trip and blow out the fuse of the Flame of Ulrich in comic fashion immediately after they took over the Empire.
Not unfair.
Just some clan rat who's like spends the rest of his life trying to convince people the fire is still going. Oh, that would be very funny.
Oh, it's a really interesting vote looking at both sides.
Yeah.
This one's fascinating. So just so you know, out there, before the vote's coming to an end, at the moment over on Twitch, Ian Saving the World is way ahead. But over on the other side, Ian Saving the Middenheim and Ulrich Exploding the World is ahead. If you would like to impact that on either side, go do it.
Oh my gosh. Scion, thank you very much,
Scion.
first of all. What if Nurgle got angry and intervened on the side of the Empire because he doesn't want the Skaven / the Horned Rat stealing his thunder as the Plague God? Also, Nurgle to S tier. That's a very funny callback. Thank you. That's A, it's very generous, but B, that's also very funny.
It is. That's amused me.
Just Kugoth Plague Father from downtown throwing the Nurglings.
Now Ian Saving the World, it's kind of happening. Wow.
I will say, I am pleased at the amount of votes on Twitch. That's very nice. Good job. People have gotten the message. But yeah, if things don't change in the next like 30 seconds, then the elves are saving the world.
They're going to need a good 4 or 5 extra votes over on Twitch if you want it to happen. The Skaven blowing up the world. If you want that to happen over on YouTube, you're going to have about, I don't know, a good third of you, a good 30, 40, 50 people are going to have to switch votes for that to happen on that side. Yeah,
and true. You know what ifs are always so interesting because just to ramble for a second of that, I always think like, we could do something else. Because I know what's going to happen. Like, and then I sit down, we do it. And it's like, what the fuck is going on? And they're always so fun. They're always so fun because they never, every time I think like, we could do something else. Ended. Oh, geez.
Twitch has ended. And Twitch has got a good result.
Which means YouTube has ended. And it's by a solid margin that Aenir saved the world.
Yeah, so the Aenir, so that's the elves of the Lorelorn Forest, seeing the great danger that the world is faced with if the Skaven hold what is effectively a potential weak point in the fabric of reality itself, take control of Middenheim. And they swiftly, upon seeing the great danger ahead of them, invade. And that invasion is wholly successful because the Skaven literally don't care. They don't know what they've got down there. They don't fully understand what Middenheim means to the rest of the world, meaning that Middenheim is not under their control. So what do we have for our empire here? What we have is the empire in a state of semi-rebellion against their Skaven rulers, but up in the north, Clan Moldar have consolidated their power. Most of what we understand as Kislev is now Clan Moldar territory.
Yeah, the northeast is now Skavendom.
Absolutely. And it is held tightly. And much of the southern Chaos Wastes and into Norska is also held by Clan Moldar. But the war across the old world is not going frightfully well. The dwarves have not been defeated. The rest of the old world not only hasn't been defeated, they're taking up arms against them. And the same can be said to be down the south and over in the east.
The avatar of Moray Heg takes this. I mean, to be fair, she did foresee that everything was about to go tits up. We gotta go. We gotta go.
So for those of you who have watched the LAWhammer streams, you'll be fully aware of what the Aenir have likely done in this case.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. So I have another place.
So
in
what's
the old
your new
world.
direction?
I think we need to figure out what are the undead up to.
Okay,
because Van Hal is still alive. And Vlad and Manfred.
Van Hal's probably dead by now because it's been over 100 years.
Well,
so unless he's turned like Lich, he's probably
remember
dead.
He body hops to what's his face because his apprentice tries to kill him, and then he body hops.
Yeah.
So I think it's fun to say Van Hal's still around.
Yeah, sure.
But,
I mean, he's using necromancy.
Not that he's that important. So the big thing is we have 3 notable forces. We have the Lawmian Sisterhood, who are probably not happy with what's going on right now. We have the von Karsteins, who were in that Kislevite area and now have definitely been pushed south.
Yeah, the Karsteins are probably out. They're never going to happen. We are never going to get the Karstein line, and that doesn't mean that we're not going to get the line of Vashanesh popping up elsewhere. Go watch our stream about Vashanesh.
Yeah, it's going to be a very different looking mess.
Yeah, but there are no von Karstein vampires as we understand them today. Instead, Manfred.
Yeah, thank you. Lothar von Deal was his apprentice. Yeah, that he body hops into.
That he body hops into. Manfred and Vashesh Vlad, the pair of them are probably doing their own thing elsewhere, and they've gone. They are probably no longer going to be the great power that they become inside the Warhammer world because of your choices. But the Lamian Sisterhood are now threatened.
Yeah. So, because Hellpit is not that far away.
No.
So
I mean, it is.
it is and isn't kind of. Yeah, but anyway. So I think we find out now: do the undead stay quiet, or do they take advantage of all of, because this southeast part of the empire is not particularly well invested in by the Skaven.
It's no. I think we already have an answer to a degree, and that is that the Lamians aren't under threat. Because Clan Mulder have risen, not the Old World. If the Old World had risen, then the Lamians would be under threat significantly.
Let me rephrase. Instead of being under threat,
angle, I think.
Yeah, instead of being under threat, they see the weakness. This is the time to strike, because Menheim just fell. They know that there's still a notable vampiric force down in Sylvania that could be motivated to move. The question is, do they
There's not
say...
a notable one in Sylvania, really, at this point?
Well, it's just because...
Really... it's only Van Hals and his little dudes. It's like so few of them, the greater scheme of story. I mean,
do you think we should ask if Nagash comes back early because of the whole storm?
Nagash could be fun. If we're dealing with undead, I mean, he is a core component of it. Does it force Nagash to wake up early? The Skaven are eyes elsewhere. They're at war across the world. It would be a time for Nagash to potentially rise, particularly given that we've had a different swirl of magic effectively in the area. And that great rise of magic during our previous Everchosen could have given him enough extra oomph to move into a position where he decides to
Yeah, this also means, you know what we could spin it as? The crown of sorcery has fallen into Skaven hands.
Yes, it has. That's fair.
Because they took Altdorf.
Yes, they did. So perhaps instead we say which clan gets the crown of sorcery.
Ooh, that's hilarious.
Because we've got Clan Mulder, and they're likely to get hold of it. I think that should be mentioned. Holding the Empire, we also have Clan Pestilens in a primary route, but it's embattled. But Clan Pestilens as one option. Clan Scryer as an outside, I think, is worth mentioning. But that's it. And I'd probably stop it just at 3 and then use that to decide what happens with Nagash.
I am tempted to give Chad a mini vote of for the undead factor. Would they... I feel like it'd be fun to give them like a 1-minute poll where they could decide, would they rather it take the form of vampires are on the move, necromancers are on the move, or Nagash is on the move. And then once we have our flavor of undead, we run with that.
Yeah, that sounds good. Okay, cool. Okay. Yeah, like that.
So, yeah, this is going to be a very short 1 minute poll.
A very fast mini poll to determine what the undead threat is and whether the undead threat is Nagash, vampires, or other undead. I think others might be better than just necromancers because you've also got the Tomb Kings that could rise up in the vault.
That's very true.
Not the Tomb Kings, pardon me. The
Ancient
Whites.
The Barrel Kings.
Whites. Yeah. Those guys that are all over the vaults who could stir. And they are not at all associated with Nagash and his crew. There are a variety of other undead things that we could bring to the table if we wish to do so.
Yeah, so y'all get 1 minute on that. Hell, and if y'all do other, I would not be against tabling the Tomb Kings go, fuck it, we fight!
Yeah, Kemri comes into attack from the south, an unexpected rise.
Yeah, so get those votes in, and while you're doing that, we're going to grab some more super chats.
Yeah.
Of course. This is just another algae scheme that we're thankful for. I'm so conflicted right now.
Yeah, that's the problem with the dwarves, really. Yeah, it is another algae scheme. Thanks, elves, I think. Oh.
We're still not giving the crowd back. That's not the right elves. Whatever. Sorry, I mean, it wouldn't be totally unprecedented given the incident where Kugoth came to the rescue of Musion, beating Kairos to death in the process. Yes, though Nurgle is glutting well here. Like the amount of decay and pestilence and disease that's running rampant in the world, Nurgle's laughing back up in the row. I mean, most of the gods are. If anything, I think of all of them, Slanesh might be the most kind of like towards what's happening right now, but the other three are probably laughing it up. Dino Man, the vampires start raising the dead from the human wars, but are able to convince the human rebels to ally with the undead vampires, so we get a mixed living undead army.
Just looking at that poll, that was fast, and it was.
Oh, it's already over. Jesus.
Yeah, it was, and it was others.
Others,
by some significant measure. So 55% over on Twitch.
Ooh, that's so something weird's about to happen.
Okay, so the natural order of the world has been disturbed, and in the Empire, the great rise of decay and horror has brought along with it Dar. Now, Dar is black magic. It is the combination of the winds of magic into something tarry, disgusting, and importantly, powerful. And the humans who are living underneath the whip of the Skaven, those who are either free and fighting against them in a guerrilla warfare, or alternatively, literally in their slave pens, are wrapped around with all of this Dar. And there's one thing you can say for certain about humans. They do magic, and they often do it in unexpected ways. So we are going to have, across our old worldy area, an uprising of several types. On one side, we've got a bunch of effectively dark magic users who are learning to use the magic, the spark of magic in them flaring up, and instead of them possibly being able to figure out illusionism or possibly being able to channel some sort of nature spirit, there's just too much dark magic in the area for those outcomes to ever occur. The natural spark of magic in humanity is instead manifesting darkly, and they're also being manipulated from the outside by forces like the Lamian Sisterhood, who are slipping in and teaching these nascent humans, to effectively empower their own rebellion, where, yeah, sure, there might not be a lot of them. A slave population of several thousand turns into a far larger population when they're dealing with zombies and various other skeletons that help them also. The Skaven are finding an unexpected undead rebellion, but beyond that, they have also an unexpected group of allies as the old Barrow Kings, the old ancient leaders of humanity from the past. So appalled are they at what humanity has become, come to their unexpected aid as wights and ghosts and banshees of various ilks come to their side, and the Skaven are embattled in a way they never expected.
I love that we're in the Empire, we're getting the fulfillment of all the so-and-so will return to save us prophecies, but it's these horrible undead monstrosities being like, I'm here to save my descendants.
The old original peoples of the Empire before the tribes of Sigmar came. So this isn't Sigmar comes back. This is the peoples from before that. Many of whom are an undead type that are quite unlike the later dark magic equivalent. Drakenfels return again. And it wouldn't surprise me if Drakenfels was a component of parts of this anyway, but he would be sitting in the Grey Mountains, manipulating affairs, doing his own thing. So loosely, we've determined what is happening in the old world. And the old world is a conglomerate mixture of different rebellions. We've got the elves in the north who take Middenheim. Across what used to be the Empire and into Kislev, we have a variety of dark magic users manifesting all over the place and being surprisingly effective at undead magics. The old Tomb Kings are supporting them. Not the Tomb Kings, pardon me, the Barrow Wights, et al. The Barrow Kings for...
We'll deal with the Nehagars in a little while, not yet.
And they come down from the vaults where there is all manner of ancient grave sites up in that area.
You know what's fun is theoretically, through just the wild shenanigans of how crazy things are, Krell comes down as like a champion of the people.
That would be an unexpected one, wouldn't it? Although he was chaos.
Yeah,
but I don't think he'd be a champion of the people.
Oh yeah, no, I think he would just be killing everybody. But his legion would wake up.
Very possibly.
I forget what they're called. But so guerrilla undead warfare. is going on in the Empire. It's a mess, but hey, it's keeping the Skaven busy. And it also means the Skaven are not extracting resources as well from the empires they once
only
did.
In the north where the strong old folks, old peoples of the empire hold no sway. So up with Clan Moulder, where they're being wholly successful.
I think at this point, the thing we need to figure out is, what does Clan Moulder do? Like, do they look at this and go, oh, we need to like make sure we're not split apart and we reunify with Skaven Blight, like we reinforce the old world? Do they say, fuck them, we've got our own problems?
Take control.
Yeah, take control of Skavendom and allow much of the old world to essentially fall in treacherous, backstabby fashion, because all they'd have to do is do nothing.
Yeah, consolidate their own power.
Yeah.
So yeah, Clan Moulder, I think, is the mover and the shaker here. They're the ones who can make a difference as to what happens next. So the first one should be Clan Moulder move to take control. So they move to effectively remove Pestilens control in the above empire, the new ascended empire, and they effectively turn what used to be the weapons they were sending to aid others into the very things that they're fighting, as Clan Moulder moves into a campaign to try and head south towards Skaven Blight, and under the guise of we're coming to reinforce Skaven Blight, they start conquering all the other Skavens.
Yeah, it's gonna be a backstab regardless of what you vote for. It's just, do they decide to reassert control over the old world and go for Skaven Blight and set themselves up as we're in charge of Skaven Blight now?
Indeed. Or do they just ignore them and just leave them to perish? So if you choose option 2, Clan Moulder consolidate their power in the north and they leave the south. And if you go with option 2, Skaven Blight is threatened, might fall, and the newly ascended Skaven empire above ground is going to be so embattled that large chunks of it will be lost because Clan Moulder choose to withdraw support, and Clan Pestilens is buggered.
Yeah.
So, what's our third option? Assuming we have more. I mean, is it good enough just to decide that Clan Moulder either attacks or defends?
I think this is a good crossroad point.
Yeah, I think so too.
Because it's either Clan Moulder in very Skaven-y fashion basically turns the old world war up to 10, but by doing so really situate themselves as the king of Skavendom, or do they, in a different interpretation of Skaven backstabbing, allows the traditional Skavendom to functionally start to die, and they just sit up in the north and make a new empire?
Yeah, so your choice is going to be Clan Moulder move to support the Skaven, or Clan Moulder turn their back on the Skaven.
Let's do a 3-minute poll for this.
Yeah, that sounds good. Yeah, I like this. This would be an interesting outcome. Wonder where it's going to go.
Yeah, because this is going to have a massive amount of determinism for where we go from here. Because if they abandon the rest of Skavendom, they functionally, we're kind of dealing with a situation where Clan Moulder is kind of comfy, and we kind of have to figure out, does the rest of Skavendom just fall?
Yeah.
Which could kind of be, in many ways, almost an end to the storyline of that Clan Moulder has made a new Skavendom, but traditional one, and Skaven Blight itself.
It'll be an interesting story.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Or if they decide to go back home, then we're kind of back to the Skaven have the opportunity to still claim the entirety of the old world if they play their cards right, but it's going to be hard. Really hard.
Let's see where it all lands. This is going to be an interesting one, I think.
Yeah. Because enemies of the Skaven are consolidating. Like, we're about to have, like, the elves are on the move. Bretonnia is about to be on the move. The dwarfs have been sealed in their holds for long enough. Things are about to start happening.
Yeah. So approximately a quarter of you vote over on YouTube. If any of you are just listening, do take a moment to drop in, because this is a really important next step.
Twitch is a dead 50-50 at the moment.
50-50 in Twitch, nice.
I should get caught up on Super Chats. Let's see. We were... Boop. Gaston! The rat men have interfered too often. They die!
Yeah. That might end up being the case depending upon where we all land here.
Ricky Chapman, the rise of the Lich Emperor. Perhaps if Clan Mulder doesn't head south, there might be things going on down there.
Unexpected outcome down there, yeah. Who knows where that's going to go?
Sign of the Emperor. Suddenly, it's Luther Harkin with the steel chair. I think he's over in the Vampire Coast at this point, but he's not been there very long. He hasn't consolidated much. He randomly decides to invade the old world with the entirety of his... He doesn't have much of an undead armada at this point. He's very, very weak at this point. It's going to take him a while to get situated. Morning to Chris. Yeah, we did that one. Yep, Drakenfels. Gideon, somehow the stream turned into Aragorn with the Ghost Army, except the orcs are Skaven. I love the what ifs.
Yeah, I love the what ifs too. We never know where they're going to go.
Yeah, there is something genuinely interesting about, like, if Mulder didn't come south, that there is a heroic turned form of undead of like ancestors genuinely coming to save what they can. But it's dark magic, so there's also horribleness and warped aspects of it in really weird and bizarre ways. It's not going to be that heroic. Captain Magma, maybe with enough time, a second Everchosen comes. I doubt it, but we'll see what happens. Aquicone, Mulder head to the Chaos Gate to get ready for AOS early.
Yeah.
Let's just head north. This planet sucks anyway. And then, okay, that's time.
Is that time? Okay, so, oh, wow. Okay, so over on YouTube, it's a clean 57% say they stay in Hell Pit, but Twitch went the other way, but not by much. It's very close on Twitch with a just slight lead for Clan Mulder head south. So that means I would suggest that we have got ourselves a bit of a debate amongst Clan Mulder, and Clan Mulder are torn. They think that they could consolidate power by reinforcing and working with the rest of the Skaven to effectively ensure that the ascendancy of the Skaven and the Horned Rat's goal stays in place. But ultimately, after some significant debate, and we all know that that will involve knives in the dark, Clan Mulder decide to pull back and hold their own borders up in the north, meaning that the option that you've chosen is that the Skaven, as we understand it in our new Ascended Empire, is swiftly going to get defeated. It's been kicking around for a good 100 years or so, effectively a large Skaven empire in the old world, but right from the beginning, it was embattled. And what started off as a great spread, where demons standing at the front of their armies by the end of it consolidated their control over all of the armies, and then took most of the empire up towards Kislev, as we understand it. Kislev doesn't exist yet, but you know what I mean. That entire area is taken, but ever since it was taken and the removal of the demons, it got pushed back step by bloody step over the course of several decades. Middenheim, one of the great jewels of their campaign, is lost to the elves. And then, over the course of the next so many decades, other great cities of Skaven also fall and are taken back by other forces. From the south, we have got Estalia and Tilia, one combined group that takes Skavenblight. Clan Scryer loses its heart because Clan Mulder, which was in a position to save them and take control of all of it, decided, nah, I'm not doing it. And we're just not. And Clan Mulder are in a position where they could have saved the Horned Rat's, let's be blunt, his dream. We shall inherit. And they've gone, no, we shall inherit.
Yeah, his kids backstab the fuck out of him.
We shall inherit. And up in the north, they don't just consolidate. Clan Mulder holds. It holds really strongly, while the empire, as we understand it before, collapses into war, and the Skaven lose city after city after city over the course of several decades. And they lose them to multiple forces. Some of them are elven forces striking down, some of them are dwarven forces striking down, some of them are undead necromancer weirdos striking down from the mountains. Some of them are slave uprisings, and as each part falls, it collapses into almost Warhammer. In that there's also factions that compete against each other and don't like each other, that occasionally are dancing around each other and going to war also. If you've ever played Warhammer Total War and seen the mess that the Empire often devolves into in any of those games, that's what's happening. Lots of different forces are moving across the Empire and Kislev and are really losing, winning. But over in Kislev, Clan Moulder have consolidated and are super strong.
I have the perfect next vote, and it's gonna get fucking wild.
I love fucking wild. What's next?
Phrasing. So we have so the Skaven have functionally betrayed the Great Horned Rat.
Yeah, they have.
Which, to be fair, a part of him is probably a little bit proud, but the rest of him
Moulder have done it. Not
Skaven, Clan Moulder.
Yeah,
so,
Clan Moulder.
Right, hanging out as they are up in the north of the world, gathering all that warpstone, all that dark magic, where the winds of magic are blowing strong and weird things can happen. I think the destiny of Clan Moulder must be decided. In that, how does their god feel about this betrayal? And what does he do? I have four options, some of which are absolutely asinine. So, some of these are genuinely insane bullshit. So, the first option is that the Great Horned Rat gets his revenge. And he pulls a Doom of Kasvar on Hellpit. Where he goes and he brings ruin to his children.
Yeah. That seems a very likely outcome for one of the four. Love it. The idea that effectively he does a Skaven Blight to Clan Moulder and fucks them. Yeah, like that.
Option 2. Yeah. The Great Horned Rat is proud of his children. They have, without realizing it, fulfilled a great one of his many commandments. And he rewards them with power. And
so he drives a gigantic wedge of warpstone into the center of Hell Pit. And inscribes the new laws of the Skaven upon it, where Clan Moulder's capital in Hell Pit now becomes the center of Skavendom.
If we wanted to get like super freaky with it, what if it's like he throws this warpstone pillar and that bottom ring of Hell Pit sinks into the realm of ruin, and there's like a rip.
Yeah, I think so. Clan Moulder is rewarded by now being effectively the capital of the Skaven, as the new 13-sided pillar of warpstone lays out the new commandments from the Horned Rat for the successful rise of Clan Moulder.
The third option is that the Great Horned Rat abandons his children. He simply pulls back his blessings and speaks to them no more. They no longer have a divine patron and must only survive through their use of magic, but they have no more seers. They have no more prophecy. They just kind of have to figure it out.
So Clan Moulder are effectively... So I think a nice way to spin this one would be they are effectively removed from the Horned Rat's blessing. Clan Pestilens and the other clans retain it. So Clan Pestilens down the south still have their seers with their Nurglitch and all the rest of it. But Clan Moulder and their great betrayal has left them ostracized by the Horned Rat, which means if you choose this one, you are saying that Clan Moulder fall to Nurgle.
Well, okay, hold up. So for my fourth option, up in the north, they're god angry at them. They realize they don't need him because there's someone else they can turn to. And the Skaven of Clan Moulder fall to chaos.
Yeah, fall to chaos. Yeah. I think that's very close to what you'd end up as a potential outcome for 3. We need a strong outcome for 3.
So we could just do 3. Unless you got another way to spin it.
Yeah, I think that works quite well because we can stick to the divine points. The third one doesn't have a clean divine outcome, where this one very much does. So the first one would be the Horned Rat smites them. The second one would be the Horned Rat rewards them, and the third one would be the Horned Rat spurns them, and chaos picks up the pieces.
Yep, love it, love it.
Yeah, me too. I think it's great.
What does
no idea where this is going to go. Who knows where the chat's going to go with this one? Probably the elves. They'll all turn to the elves.
It was Ladriel all along. Okay, and then... Which if they fall to chaos, hoo boy. But also smite would be very funny.
It really would be.
All right, let's do 5 minutes
for this. I think they're all kind of fucking amazing. Smite, reward, fall to chaos. Holy moly.
Yeah, this because those have some very if we have like a fun little capstone of the Skaven truly just being the fucking Skaven, being smited, and there being this almost like legacy of how Skavendom has changed, but there's like all of these horrible legends about the wrath of the Great Horned Rat. Very fun.
Very funny.
And hilarious. And so fitting. Option 2, very terrifying for a lot of the world, is, I mean, funny enough, it kind of just would almost take us back to where we were at the start of the stream, where the Skaven have just basically just moved. And then the third option, I mean, if you're like, I want that Skaven ever chosen, now's your chance.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now's your chance.
Yeah. This is an interesting outcome.
My biggest problem with these streams is that we can't load a save and check what the other outcomes would have been.
I always brought up that comment too because it made me laugh.
It's so funny. Wait, really I didn't quick save.
Damn it! No, I don't want that outcome. No, I'm changing my vote. No, sadly, there is no quick save here.
Yep. Super Urlock. Clan Mulder goes to the Council of 13 with a dead human skull and say that the undead uprising
thing isn't real.
It's not real. Stop making things up. Captain Magma. Does the Under Empire still span under the globe? Yeah, for the most part.
Yeah.
It's messy and all over the place.
It's a big, massive battle at the moment, which has been slightly more successful down in the south than it has in the real world. Slightly more successful over in the east than it has been in the real Warhammer world. And in the Empire itself has been much more successful than the Warhammer world, but is massively embattled.
Yep. Let's look, Chris. Wonder which undead leader gains the crown of the Gash. That is a fun question that ultimately isn't relevant to where the story is probably going to go.
This one's going in a slightly different direction to what I
expected. Feel free to theorize on it of which of your favorite, because I mean you could really play around with like one of these ancient Barrow kings that comes back.
Is a close vote. Really close vote. Like there's like
time's
1%,
running out.
2% in it. If you want to make a change in the vote, you're going to have to vote now. It's super close.
Vote now. Do we have a Stalin's World? Oh, wait, that was... Oh, yeah. Yes, we do. And they have fused with Talea, and they successfully, with probably some elven aid...
Skaven Blight.
Yeah, Skaven Blight has fallen.
Skaven Blight has fallen.
Mermidia got her revenge in this timeline.
Yeah, absolutely.
Captain Magma. Horned Rat reorients his goals and allies with Big C Chaos and a rage and makes every rat man a lesser demon in order to save them from demise. Maybe like some of his favorite servants ascended into various demonic creatures, but I don't
think the Horned Rat would ever ally in that regard. It would want to dominate.
Yeah, he only does so when he's literally backed into a corner, which is what the end times did. And right now he is not
what we have at the moment. In fact, if anything, his people are in a far better place. So yeah, gosh, this vote's close.
Yep, vote. Get your votes. This one is super close on both YouTube and Twitch.
Vote.
This could very well be the last vote of the stream. Get your votes in quick. Also, we would like to take a moment, as we normally do, to say thank you so much for joining us and having fun with these what-ifs. These are always super stupid, but in the best way. Though, they always inevitably end up giving some worms into my brain of things that I kind of want to talk about in the future, because it's like, oh yeah, what about that? Oh yeah, what about that? Which is like super exciting and really fun.
Oh gosh, it's close.
Oh, that's kind of cute, Ricardo, of like, instead of the Horned Rat necessarily doing it, he like allows Mermidia to do it. That
allows.
allows. Maybe he's just Myrmidia in drag. Who knows?
I don't think allows would be the right one. It'd be Myrmidia herself imposing that upon them, which would be an interesting outcome too.
Yeah. Vote.
It's super close. Your votes do make a difference in this one. Really big difference. There's just a quick one there from Dino Man. You misread my post. Not surprising since I misspell stuff all the time. I was suggesting a name for the fused nation combining Estalia and Tilia into Estilia. Estilia! It's far more likely to get a name that's more like the Holy Empire of Myrmidia or some equivalent down in the south.
Yeah, that is...
the Holy Roman Empire equivalent for what goes down there. An equivalent of some sort of new Roman Empire down in the south.
The Holy Empire of Myrmidia would be...
Yeah.
Or like the Holy... Myrmidon's Empire or something something like that.
Yeah. That's almost certainly what we have down in the south of the old world.
Because
this is close.
I'm still butthurt that a Myrmidon isn't like a casual career. It's in Fire Emblem. Why isn't it in most of my Estalia lore?
I think I might have added it once to second
Shame
edition.
the fourth option wasn't Mulder creating a new god to serve. We could have had a giant rat abomination. That would have been cool. I wish I had thought of that. That would have been fun.
I don't think it's something that Mulder would do, though. They've got a god on hand. Okay, we've got a finish over on Twitch.
And Hammer
it's
Slam.
The same on both, but by the finest of margins.
Okay, Twitch is basically a tie.
It is, yeah, but the Greater Horned Rat does reward them. And if we go over to YouTube, Great Horned Rat rewards them at 36% with an actual tie with Fall to Chaos. Yeah, it's a tie over on YouTube. Over on Twitch, the abandonment didn't. It's like second along with the revenge.
There is
like a mess. It's so close.
Yeah. I have an idea.
Slight.
I have an idea.
Yeah, what's your idea?
My idea is that the Horned One does reward his children. He does send down that Warpstone meteor or the pillar, and he does sink part of Help into the Realm of Ruin. But it sucks.
No, I think we will possibly have a better idea because we can tie in both of the results because we got a tie, which was a tie between the Fall to Chaos and the Horned Rat rewards them. Horned Rat.
You're right.
Yeah, the Horned Rat joins Chaos. So we get Age of Sigmar early. So the success in the north effectively brings the Horned Rat to the point where he is competing with the Chaos Gods in the Realm of Chaos up in the north. And that's what Clan Mulder has brought. And the rest of the Skaven are effectively abandoned for the Chaos Skaven that are now coming from Clan Mulder up in the north.
I love that imagery of like the bell tolling in Skaven Blight as the Skaven are trying to defend it, and the Seers, a lot of their blessings and magic just slowly stop working. And you just hear the laughter of the dark gods, including the Great Horned Rat, echoing over them as the city is overwhelmed by dwarves and humans and elves.
The
forces of order don't realize that this is so much worse. This is so much worse.
Yeah. So the forces of chaos are massively emboldened, and their powers swell because we now have 5 Chaos Gods in the Warhammer world. As contrary to what many people think, the Horned Rat is not a Chaos God. It just isn't. But the Horned Rat effectively joins in with the Chaos God's great plan. And that plan is no longer the plan of the Warhammer world as the Horned Rat had before, which was to ascend and take control of it. The great war that happens across the Empire was enough for the Horned Rat to realize that the great plan of ascendancy was the wrong plan. And seeing it in practice made him realize that what should happen is that the entire world should be brought into the realm of chaos, into the realm of ruin itself. The entire world should basically go boom. It should go. And in that, he finally allies himself with the other 4 great powers and all the other Chaos Gods in his desire to bring the world to an actual end, to end the mortal realms as they currently stand, and to bring the realm of ruin and indeed all the divine realms that are out there into the material realm and end it, which means what we have here is a horned rat with a very different goal because of what happens and the failures that occur in the old world, where beforehand his great plan was ascendancy, to bring Skaven to rule the world. Upon seeing the failure of that, the Horned Rat comes up with a new plan, and his Council of 13 thrust an enormous spike of warpstone into the center of Hell Pit, right down into the bottom, and the Realm of Ruin itself begins to eat up from there. And we get ourselves almost a Skaven equivalent of the Maw. It's almost like in a direct access point to Chaos down at the very bottom. And by Chaos, I mean the realm of one of the Chaos Gods, as it bubbles up from there. Mutation spreads, if anything, even further. We have ourselves a new Chaos Gate in the Warhammer world.
Love that, because you could just imagine Clan Mulder like having these great winches where they like tie up creatures and beasts and they lower it into this pool of awful that goes to the Realm of Ruin, leave it there for a second, and then pull it back up, and it's like horrible.
Yeah, so it's very obvious what the next step is. The arrival of a new Chaos Gate, the arrival of a new Chaos Power changes the world entirely, and it means that we have ourselves the next great swelling of chaos, as the next set of prophecies all fall into place, as the next Ever-Chosen rises. And as much as we might say this will be a Skaven one, won't it? No, it's not how it works. The Chaos Gods would never support a Skaven Ever-Chosen.
Yeah, because the other four, he'd be like, it should be a Skaven. The other four would be like, no.
Because that just ain't happening. The Ever-Chosen is someone that they all agree to support, to bind together all the forces of chaos underneath a single rule. And it's someone that has to go through a whole host of steps, which may effectively means all the Chaos Gods go, yeah, fair enough, this one will do. Which means that we're going to have a rise of a new Chaos Power, a new Ever-Chosen, who's going to try and take on the world.
Yeah, now,
and at this point, it's a bit of a mess.
Yeah, now that Ever-Chosen will have to get the favor of the Great Horned Rat, so there is extra steps he has to go through. Now, I think what's really fun here is that now the setup is basically Kislev is this great stronghold where chaos will gather, and when the time comes, whether it's in 100 years or 500 years or 1,000 years, that they decide to go for Middenheim, the situation is fascinating because they have to go through an undead empire to get to the elven stronghold of the north.
Yeah.
To try and end the world.
And I think the empire that we're going to have here is not so much an undead empire. It's a conglomerate of lots of tiny human empires. What's left after the Skaven have been defeated, after the Horned Rat has abandoned them. We're going to end up with a really... The Skaven are going to have disappeared into the forests, down underground, into the rivers. We're going to have Skaven that look to their god as abandonment and realize that the only thing that they have left is to turn to chaos. So all of the Skaven across the old world and further only have one route, which is to turn to the Horned Rat as chaos.
Yeah, they're either dead or fallen.
The world is going to change fast because the Skaven, unlike most other species, don't band together frightfully well. And they outnumber most other species. And their goal is to eventually rise up and take the world from below. But they're too busy fighting each other to ever do that. Now they have a single view, a single goal, and that's to wipe out the world. That's to rise up and bring the Realm of Ruin into the real world rather than just simply rise up and take over. But who gets to rise up? Me. No, It's no longer that. It's all about the realm has to go. It's going to go fast.
Yeah, I would definitely say the next Ever-Chosen would definitely be the last one. Because the Ever-Chosen literally, their whole point is that they bind chaos together with such strength that there's no escaping it. And if you get the
Horned Rat will be bound in that.
It's game over. It's literally game over.
So the great question of is the Horned Rat a chaos god is quite clearly answered here. No, he isn't, because if he was, the world would probably have fallen. And what this what if has ended up with is, what if the Horned Rat was a chaos god? And the end result is what we have here. The Skaven are all bound underneath the Ever-Chosen, meaning that the countless probably billions that are across the world of them.
Oh,
there are
least.
so many of them. The countless billions of Skaven rise up across the world. But ultimately, they don't, because that would be the obvious war. They have a goal, and that goal is Middenheim. They move with purpose. Middenheim's going to fall. The Undertunnels are theirs to play with. This is a horrific end. It's the world falls to chaos a full 1,000 years earlier, with the Horned Rat being largely the one that allows the 5 great powers of chaos to win in a way that it never could previously. It very much is the consolidation of chaos as the core power in the Warhammer world, and ultimately the mortal realms being completely fragmented as chaos destroys and eats everything. Holy crap.
Yeah, so funny enough, we went from what if the Skaven had taken over the Empire with Clan Pestilens functionally ascendant to what if the Grey Horned Rat fell to chaos with Clan Molder ascendant.
Yeah.
What a journey!
I didn't expect this as the outcome. So, yeah, I actually think, have we finished? I think we finished.
I think we have, because they're, to put it very bluntly, because we're not allowing other what if scenarios into this what if, there's no stopping that alliance.
Yeah, so let's give ourselves a pretty simple summary. We asked, what if, the big what if, the Skaven won the Skaven Wars and destroyed the Empire? Through the course of our discussion about the different potential outcomes, you went for a route that led to Clan Molder rising and taking a great deal of the power in the north from the realm of chaos. A great deal of everything that is up there, and through doing so, in the south, where the great ascendancy had succeeded, the great plan of the Horned Rat had come to pass. It got so embattled and so besieged that the Horned Rat himself looked down at what was happening with his people and went, the ascendancy is not the right plan. What's happening with Clan Molder is. And the Horned Rat reached such a point of control up in the realm of chaos elsewhere, and a conclusion that the ascendancy was wrong and bringing his realm of ruin into the material realm was correct. They effectively turns sides. Now, this isn't he gets together with the Chaos Gods and they have a sit down and go, yeah, okay, you're one of us now, handshake. This is nothing more than they're off in their own individual realms coming to conclusions, and he decides, I'm going to bring about the end of the world. I'm actually going to do the same thing as they're doing. And whilst they continue to hate each other, Khorne hates Slaanesh, hates the Horned Rat, hates them all, okay, they're all agreeing, even though they hate each other, that the outcome they want is the same. And eventually, after a couple of centuries, an individual rises up that all 5 chaos powers goes, that's the one we're going to support.
A really weird man, woman, person thing.
Yeah. And that individual then brings about the end of the world, because they have the support of the Skaven, who have literally fall into chaos, not follow the Horned Rat. The Horned Rat is now a chaos power seeking to undo the world. And that is the outcome that we weirdly landed on. I kind of love this.
I actually like it a lot too, because for those curious, this is actually much worse than what Archaon does in the end times. Archaon brokers an alliance with the Skaven, but it's shaky and they constantly backstab him, and it's a mess. This is, no, they're part of the team. They're not little friends, because if they're not friends, they're going to die. They're fully on board. This is way worse.
Yeah. This is an outcome that's going to leave the rest of the world broken far faster. You're not going to get the same Age of Sigmar outcome either, because we don't have all of the gods fracturing the vortex go the way it's going. This is just a bad, bad end. I love it.
Mm-hmm. Yep, it's great.
Yeah, this is Chaos wins.
Yep.
And the Horned Rat wins. Thanks, says the Horned Rat.
I think this is the first what if where functionally bad guys won.
And bad guys win big time.
Yeah, big time.
This is the Skaven win. Because of what occurred, the Horned Rat wins. Yeah.
Goddamn rats. Cyan, thank you for the super chat. I'd like to suggest the next what if. I could add to the list. What if the War of Vengeance never happened? That is definitely one. What if the Asur and Dawi realized the Druki were trying to play them against each other? Which is a bit of an oversimplification, but yes. What implications would they have for humanity, Sigmar and Ethellorin? There are some good questions there.
Huge. One of the core goals, Sion, of the what ifs is not to repeat what we've done before. And it's very easy to fall back on because the elves are such a core component of the Warhammer world story to fall back on. What if the elves? Which is what we kind of did with the
That just give us a good amount of like what's going on with dwarves and humanity, though, in some really fun ways.
This is one that I would like to do because I think the War of Vengeance is a super important one, but it's probably one that we'll want to do after a few more what ifs, just to make sure we don't focus on the elves a bit too much.
Yeah, which is why this one was super nice. Because we barely, though funny enough, they still got involved, but not too badly. I'm putting it on the list right now. Never
like that one.
Happened. Thank you. Then
Mornington Crescent next, I think.
Yes. The Great Horned Rat gets their full demonic pantheon. That's terrifying. Yep. Full rats on the wall level. Oh yeah.
Yeah. They'll get a full pantheon, ranging from the Council of 13 at the top, effectively down through the ranks of other demons, many of whom are going to be fully ascended Skaven champions. So demon princes of a variety of kinds, not just the Skaven who was alive and becomes one of the vermin lords, but true ascended Skaven of various types. It's going to be a pretty awesome Realm of Ruin.
Watchdog, what would the Everchosen look like after proving themselves as the Great Horned Rat? I mean, they'd look like an Everchosen, but they probably have like some big rune of the Great Horned Rat somewhere on their armor. They might have they might be mutated in a weird way. It depends. It just depends on how they show the Everchosens. Everchosen's not necessarily the most popular opinion. I would love to see more Everchosens that are super fucked up. Morcar
end up looking like a Chaos Warrior. That's
Archaon, Asvar Cool, and Morcar are pretty basic looking. Like they're just big dudes in armor. I would love to see them way more mutated from time to time.
I just love to see them being a bit more interesting. They're not frightfully interesting.
Yeah, if you actually want to get super technical about it, because Archaon is wearing Morcar's armor, they should probably look almost the exact same. Like they don't barely look different.
This comment's made me laugh.
Donovan, the ultimate answer to what if the Skaven won the Black Death War is that the European viewers can watch a what if in full and not go to bed in a reasonable hour. Oh my god. Amadeus, the last Everchosen is the hooded figure from the Doom of Kazvar. That would be that'd be
a cool one.
That would be cool. That's headcanon to me. That's cool.
Yeah, like that.
That it ends up being revealed it's the same person somehow. That's cool.
That was always the plan. Yeah, love it.
All right.
We done.
That's it.
So I would like to say thanks to everyone who turned up and did the votes. This is not at all what I expected when Sotek and I were discussing where this one might land. We have landed with the Horned Rat joining the pantheon of the Chaos Gods at a far, far, far earlier date, coming to the conclusion that the mortal realms no longer should exist and should be brought into the divine realms. World go boom. I love it.
Yeah.
That's just not the outcome I expected. So thanks, everybody.
Shadow of Nox, I just want to say, I wrote that one down. That's a really cool one. Of the Day of Awakening actually happening.
That is a good one.
That's a great one. Thank you. I wrote that down.
I really like that one. Thanks for that one. I can see a story there.
Yeah.
Great golden gods.
So quick updates and news. Unfortunately, next week's going to be a little scant. Andy, there's no LAWhammer this Friday.
No LAWhammer this Friday because I'm at the dentist.
Yeah. No Rookery this Saturday because of the con.
We are hopefully doing it at 8:30. We're discussing with the convention how we are going to be able to do the sound system. It looks like it's going to work. So we should be at 8:30, and we're going to have 4 guests on discussing what the future of role-playing games are. And they are guests from across role-playing industry, including a CEO of one role-play company. We've got a great writer, Elaine. She's going to be here. She's written for Warhammer in the past, a bunch of other things. We've got lots of cool people coming on.
Stay tuned.
That's hopefully at 8:30 on Saturday UK time.
That would be 2:30 p.m. Central Standard Time for those curious.
As you say so.
Okay, great. And then Sunday we are hopefully going to do Morothy Part 2, but we'll see. Yeah, we'll see how Andy's feeling.
There is an potential outcome where I won't be able to talk, so we might not do it, but I fully intend to do it. God damn it!
Yeah, we're really excited because I feel very confident we can wrap her up in that stream, and it's gonna be a good one.
Who doesn't want to wrap up Morathi?
Yeah, great. You should always wrap it up with Morathi. That's for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
But next Wednesday there will be no Lorebeards. I will be out of town for family stuff, so I won't be here.
So out of town for Sotek. It's highly unlikely I'll stream, but I might, just because I'm not doing anything on the Wednesday evening. So watch this space.
Yeah, so stay tuned, and then we'll hopefully be back to regular programming after that. And we're actually going to be scheduling quite a few bonus episodes in the coming weeks. So
we have plans, but we will discuss that more when Sotek returns to us.
Yeah, like there's at least 3 bonus episodes that won't be on a Wednesday. Well, one of them might end up on a Wednesday.
Yeah, one of them might end up on a Wednesday.
But at least 2 of them won't be on a Wednesday. So you'll get or a Sunday. So you get some bonus stuff. Funny DK. Oh no, Morathi might have to bargain to stop Andy, just like Sotek last week.
Yep.
You know, whatever. Thank you all. Thank you all again so much for joining us. We really appreciate the support and having you all by. It's always a pleasure to see. I still can't believe how many fucking people show up to these things.
It's always great.
It's always.
Thanks all. You absolutely kick ass, and you won't make these streams fun.
Yep.
Cheers.
Yeah. Exciting things in the future, and I'll say nothing else.
There are exciting things coming up. You'll see soon.
Yeah. Thank you all so much for watching. We'll see you next time.
Right.
Bye-bye.